Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for a very special, solid discussion of Metal Gear Solid. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E. You can find me at K.O.E. Nation on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter. And folks, I do assure you that the best is yet to come, and I am joined this evening by my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
the 17-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, not Joe Filtered, quadruple distilled, your blend master, ceremonies himself, Tony fucking G. And tonight we're going to be talking about one of the greatest games of all time, hands down, no questions asked. It's not up for debate, it's not up for an argument, and I will fight you on top of a Metal Gear Rex if you disagree with me. Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, I mean, you might even do like a Metal Gear Solid 4 at the end. Like, okay, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that is one of the most epic fights of all time. So yes, we're here to discuss one of the greatest video game series of all time, dare I say, folks. That is Metal Gear Solid, which, Tony, you and I have kind of a unique relationship with this particular game, do we not?
It's definitely one that spans decades, and that's not hyperbole in any way.
Now, for those who don't know, Metal Gear Solid is a storytelling experience that happens to use video game as its medium. I don't know how else to describe it, because like just calling it a video game is not really doing it justice. Hideo Kojima gives you these immersive, interactive experiences. And Tony, to say that the early Metal Gear Solid games actually, in a way, just because we experienced them together, in a way shaped our friendship. Would that be improper to say?
Now, Hideo Kojima is on record as saying he wanted to make movies when he arrived at Konami. So, no, that's not even exaggerated slightly. This is it's one of the most immersive things of the late 90s, and that goes across all mediums, whether it be music, movies, or video games. Pick your form of entertainment. This was breakthrough and revolutionary in a lot of different ways. So this broke open a lot of mediums through the world of video games, and it's one of those games, it's one of those stories that it does stand the test of time. Now, the gameplay itself, a lot of people would argue that it does not hold up to today's standards, which completely fair. And this is a very unique playing experience because you can't get the same experience playing this on an emulator or a remaster on a next-gen console that you're going to get by playing the 2-disc set on the original PlayStation, because that was a unique experience for many reasons, and he made sure of that. Now, I don't know that Hideo Kojima was thinking long-term, decades down the road of how is this going to hold up on next-gen consoles on a remaster. He was more along the lines of thinking, how can I blow people's minds over and over in a single video game? And that's exactly what he did. So unless you experience this at the time, on the medium, on the system, and with everything in place, you did miss out on some of the things. Like if your first experience with this was, say, with the remake on the GameCube or through a HD remaster collection on a newer console, you probably missed out a little bit.
Yeah, because I'll never forget, T, when we were in your room, like we were teenagers, and I was watching you play this game. Okay. And I know it's jumping ahead a little bit, but when you're talking about the 2-disc experience and how immersive it was, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, one of my most vivid memories of video gaming of all time. This is my most vivid memory. Okay. When I think of video games, this is one of the first memories that comes to mind, and that is the boss battle of Psycho Mantis. When he has you put the controller down, put it down flat on the ground, and he's talking you through, and then he knows your every move and he can
Yeah.
predict your every move. And it was like, I remember just sitting there watching you, and I'm like, well, how are we going to possibly overcome this? And I was just like enamored. And by the time, and then you were like, well, there's a couple of tricks. You actually have to trick the boss, not it within the software, using your hardware. And like, it was, I was like, wow, Hideo Kojima, you evil genius, you. And I was completely enamored. And like he found a way to bring characters to life that were, in essence, 5 polygon pixels for faces.
Yeah.
Okay, like there was almost no face there, but you could understand these were all fully fleshed out 3-dimensional characters, despite how horrible the graphics were.
Yeah, the facial graphics were some of the worst even at the time. Um, Given the limitations of the PlayStation, it was a CD-ROM based system, and it had some of the best graphics, but Metal Gear Solid did not have the best graphics. They had to forego some of the details on the graphics so that they could fit everything in that they did. And I think it was the right choice.
You had an above view, you had a first person view, which was pretty revolutionary for its time. The first person shooter was not
you didn't have first person shooting in this game, though. That's the thing. This was more of a fixed camera from a third person view. Now you could enter first person mode, but you couldn't do much from it other than glance and look around. That's it. So you could get an idea of your surroundings, but you were mostly handcuffed to your third person. And on the remake, the Twin Snakes on the GameCube, it actually took away from the gameplay experience, because anybody who's played that will agree it really dilutes the difficulty and the challenges of most of the puzzles, most of the boss battles, and overall how you go about your sneaking and your stealth. Because everybody who'd played the original understood you were limited, but it was crucial to the gameplay. Essentially, it was hitting the easy mode button and playing the same game with slightly better graphics. And well, I don't want to delve too much into that because it's a disaster of a game. I don't care for it at all, but I digress.
I'll be honest. Like one time I was watching the YouTube like movies, like it was a couple of years ago. I was watching the YouTube movies of all the Metal Gear Solid games because before I had a kid, I had that kind of time. Right. Before the son was born. But I tried the Twin Snakes and I liked watching the original better. I don't know how to describe it. Like there's a charm to it. And that like they were literally, this was a man that was squeezing every drop of goodie he could out of the limited technology of his day. And so that's
with the Twin Snakes, yeah, absolutely, he got everything he could out of the game. And the graphic, you don't even notice that the facial graphics are terrible while it's happening, because the gameplay is so immersive. So it doesn't matter.
The voice actors are just
the voice acting is top notch, and that's another thing. The entire voice cast did return for the remake, but it didn't have the same inflection. You could tell their acting had evolved a bit, and they were really trying to hone in on the line, and it took away from some of the desperation and some of the emotion I felt listening.
Some people took too many acting classes.
It took away from the experience. Maybe a little bit of the campiness went away, but the lines might have been the same and the actor was the same, but it didn't feel the same. So that was another thing. But other than that, on the remake, a lot of the cutscenes, we were trying to recreate the Matrix with the ridiculousness of the backflips and the jumping and the slow motion cuts. It was very distracting from what's an incredible story, which was the exact same as this one. So all that being said, this is a much better experience overall from a gameplay and a story experience. Is the first original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation, not the Twin Snake remake. But without going further down that rabbit hole, you kind of alluded to it already, but what was your first experience with this game?
It was at your house one night. We were getting ready for, or we just concluded a raucous RXW event. And we'll get into that another time. But we were like, yeah, okay, what should we do? And like, maybe we should watch SmackDown or play, SmackDown or something like that. And we were trying to figure out, or maybe Monster Hunter. You really loved that game. You would raid people's CD collections.
Monster Rancher.
Oh yeah, Monster Rancher.
Totally different game, Monster Hunter. Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you're right. It's a totally different game. But yeah, Monster Rancher, you would just raid people's CD collections just to get new monsters for that game. That was the weirdest game, but it was actually pretty fun. But you popped in Metal Gear Solid one day, and I was just like, or actually, no, wrong. You were playing Metal Gear Solid VR. You were playing the VR training, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what is, like, who is this cyborg ninja? Who's Solid Snake? Who are these? Because the VR game was really fun. Like, I mean, just as a video game, it was actually, in my opinion, like top 3 video game just for playability in the whole series. Is top 3 is the VR game, but there's no real story there. Okay. But so I was like, who are these people? So you're like, oh, Phil, strap in. And then we got started with David Hayter swimming under the ocean, getting told what to do from, what was the name of his colonel?
Roy Campbell.
Campbell. I almost said Anderson. I was like, no, that's not. Donald Anderson is that wasn't that the DARPA chief?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, Campbell. He's like, all right, Snake. And boy, did that guy end up having a pretty messed up role throughout the whole series. But and so it starts off. It was like, oh, okay, so this guy's like James Bond or something. Okay. And then you find out, not really. He's a different cat from any other spy we've ever had. He's not quite James Bond. He's not quite John Wick. He's not he's definitely I do think that Snake definitely inspired John Wick as a movie character. I think to at least some extent, but
fair.
Yeah, this was like, oh, so this is like a real operator that's big old lightning strike. Okay. But this guy's like, oh, this is like a real operator having to go into a real situation, and he's not some super powered superhero that can like take on 14 guys at once. No. He has 2 people team up on him. He's pretty much dead. And so that there felt like there was real stakes. And weirdly enough, for again how bad the graphics were, you felt like you were taking the journey with Snake. That's the weirdest part about that game series, is you felt like you were part of that journey. You were part of that experience. You were suffering there along with Snake as he suffered.
Yeah. So yeah, it immerses you almost immediately, because like you said, your introduction upon starting the game, you're watching opening credits. Like the names and the cast are all rolling as the intro video is playing, and you feel like you're watching a movie, and you're about to play a video game. And there really weren't any games doing that at the time, which is why it hooks you right from the get-go. But my first discovery of this game, oddly enough, this dropped in September of 1998, and I didn't really get my hands on it until December, maybe January of 98. But I'll put it this way. The original title for this game was actually Metal Gear 3, because there were 2 Metal Gear games on the MSX, the Japanese version of the Nintendo, which was it would just be a much more superior machine, because the port that we got of Metal Gear in the West was a little diluted to fit everything in, and they've always kind of considered the players here in America to be a little less advanced, so they dumbed down some of the gameplay a bit. I mean, see Super Mario The Lost Levels if you know what I'm talking about. But then there was a sequel to that, Metal Gear 2, and essentially Metal Gear Solid was almost a remake of both of those games. It was kind of a remake, reboot, restarting the franchise, if you will. But in the West, we didn't get that one. That's that sequel. We got a game called Snake's Revenge that Hideo Kojima was not even involved with whatsoever. Had a very ludicrous storyline, but the gameplay wasn't terrible from what I remember reading on it. I didn't really play those. I was aware of the original, I believe, but it wasn't one I played. So my first introduction to this game was actually playing this game. But I'll harken it back even further. My first introduction to this game was there was a demo disc CD that came with a Pizza Hut order back in 1998. If you ordered like the big New Yorker from Pizza Hut, you would get a free demo disc that had like 5 or 6 games on it.
Oh my God.
So you would get a free PlayStation demo CD, and Metal Gear Solid was one of the games on there. And I tried it, and at first I was like, I don't understand. But I was one of those things, I'm just like trying to fly through all these demos. So I skipped all the intro, and I tried to get right into the gameplay. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm like, I don't get it. And I went about playing one of the other demos, which was probably like Crash Bandicoot or something. And I didn't think much of it. My uncle had actually gotten a PlayStation for Christmas that year. So I had an extra of these demo CDs because I'd gotten another pizza apparently. So I gave him one of the demo discs. Well, that was the one he played, was Metal Gear Solid. And I watched him pop it in, start playing it. And he was actually paying attention to detail, trying to figure it out. And he's like, oh, I'm getting this game. So he did. He went out and he bought it. And I watched him play about half of this game. Like once in a while, I'd go over, I'd watch him play, and he'd be at a different part. Well, eventually he beats the game, and now he's like, well, I'm done with it. So he gives it to me.
Oh, boy.
And that's when I started actually playing the game. And as soon as I did, I became completely and utterly just immersed with this game. And another fun tidbit, I didn't realize this, but originally, Metal Gear 3, this was not even supposed to be for the PlayStation. It was supposed to come out a few years earlier, or at least a couple, for the 3DO system. Another one of those obscure title systems. I actually own one.
Wow.
What a different franchise this would have been had it dropped on that. And ironically, that one was almost infamous for having incredible graphics, but it would have been like a 6-disc set for what you could do with the 3DO system. So it all worked out for the better. So I got this game, let's say January of 98. And my first playthrough probably took me upwards of 18 hours, mostly because I couldn't not scour every inch of this game. Yep. Every nook, every cranny, every corner. If there was an access point to it, and even some that there weren't, I was just fully enveloped in trying to find every little thing I could possibly find. I took my sweet ass time with this, and I blasted through this in a little less than 20 hours. That's probably my longest playthrough. My quickest playthrough is 2 hours and 32 minutes. So
wow.
You can go either way with this.
That's like, I don't know if that's record, but that's got to be
It's not a
close.
record, but it's a 2-hour game if you want it to be.
Okay.
And
I remember it took us all weekend.
Oh yeah, it's not, because if you want to be fully enveloped in the story, you got to take your time with this. You want to see all the nooks and crannies. You want to see all the Easter eggs. And I've played through this game, no joke, probably upwards of 50 times because it's one that I like to revisit every year or so because I just enjoy the gameplay. And I actually have this game downloaded on my PS3. I'll never be able to get rid of my PS3 because I have it on there. And it plays pretty well on my PS3, ironically. So this is one I still regularly enjoy.
When you popped it in for the first time, I do remember it was one of those weekends where all the plans just went right out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, no, And like we were at that age, like, no, don't bother calling any girls or anything like that. We need
Yeah,
to
that
play
was going to be a
video
thing.
games, Tony. Like that's you know, I mean, now come on, T, you and I were fans of Metal Gear Solid and ran a backyard wrestling federation. I mean, yeah, we were, you know, like we were just having to beat them off with a stick, basically. Okay, like that was us in high school. Come on, you all believe that? You all believe
Yeah,
that?
sure. Everybody believes that.
Yes. Obviously, they're like, well, Phil, obviously you were just like, you know, Ric Flair, Rolex wearing, style and profiling, you know, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So we just, yeah, we forsook any other people, and it was just like, I think we walked out in your mom's kitchen once and got like a TV dinner or something.
Yeah.
Probably one of those like 90s, like with the blue box with the dinosaur on it.
Need some sustenance. We're going back in.
Yep. And yeah, that was basically, and I was just like encouraging you, no, go there. What about that? And do this. And like, and you had already gone through a lot of the nooks and crannies, so you kind of knew what was a waste of time and what wasn't.
Yeah.
And so
still do to this day. Like, yeah, I can,
yeah.
I'm just completely the game. I have evolved with the game. Like, it's one of those things, like every 5 years you play it, like it's not that you're going to learn something new, but you'll have a different appreciation for something.
Yeah. It's like, I almost feel like you should like play the game like Markiplier style. It's just like, oh no, that's a weird thing. Oh, that's wacky. Like, guy made a career off that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be wacky while playing this game.
So, all right. So let's go back to the beginning here a bit. Again, like we said, the graphics suffered because of so much being jam-packed into this, even though it was a 2-disc set game. But the amount of extra stuff they jam-packed in this, and not just the fun little stuff that you have to uncover, but this also had VR training, not an extensive one like the actual VR game itself that came out like a year or so later, but this actually had some VR training that you could play to get familiar with the controls and the gameplay and the stealth portion of the game. And this is something you could do, or you could completely skip over if you wanted to get right into it, or you could go back to it and just play it for fun. And it's just trying to elude the enemies, get familiarized with the weapons, understand how to use the maneuvers and the stealth tactics, basically on a computer screen grid. And it was, even with the bad graphics, it was kind of alluring, just the look and the style and the feel of it. So it felt very, very digitized, and that was something that was really kind of big at the time. So it was perfect for the era. And not only that, but if you were not familiar with the previous NES title games, Metal Gear 1 and 2, which you more than likely were not, there were what they called briefing tapes in the extras. Again, you could watch all of these, and it was basically, once they pick Snake up. Now, here's the backstory. Solid Snake is a retired soldier who was Special Forces. He's currently living in Alaska, like training dogs. Okay. Well, his old war buddy, Roy Campbell, his old squad leader, what have you, finds him in retirement, sends a couple of his army thugs to bring Snake in, and they bring him in naked, plop him down on a cot, and they get right into it. And essentially, Roy starts explaining the situation to Snake. And you can change the camera for different looks, but it's like a black and white footage CCTV. And you can see Snake as they drug him in, and he's responding and how, okay, you drugged me out of retirement and what's going on. And it's really interesting banter. If you've never appreciated the briefing tapes, or you just didn't do that, I do suggest going back, because it is interesting. And then once you blast through all those, then you can play the game. Then the intro starts making a little bit more sense. So now you're a little more familiarized with who you're going up against, and like you said, that you start watching those opening credits with the cast, the title, and the opening credits, and you're already fully immersed. And the music right out of the gate just kind of sets the mood and the tone. It's very haunting, and that's throughout the entire game. The mood does shift with the level of emergence and just the overall feel. Like if you've alerted enemies, it's going to be a very, very heart racing, fast paced. If you're kind of trying to elude a situation, it's going to be very
like
heat
that noise
jig.
just
Yeah,
immediately, like
absolutely.
to this day, like I was going through TikTok and I saw some guy that was acting surprised and what, like the Metal Gear Solid noise, and it immediately gets your anxiety.
Absolutely. And it's not even just the music, because like you're saying, the sounds, they didn't spare any expense on this. To this day, I think my aunt, like I said, I got this game from my uncle, still has nightmares of hearing Snake running through the snow. Oh, ran through a puddle. Or then Snake dies and Snake on the start over screen. Like, it was amazing, the level of detail just on the music and the sounds alone. But once you get through the opening credits, you're immediately put in this, you swim up and you're on this loading dock, and you have no weapons. It's all on-site procurement. So you have a pack of cigarettes and a scope. And now you've got to sneak up, avoid a few guards, and get on an elevator. Once you figure out how to do that, you start going up the elevator, you take off your scuba gear, you see Snake's non-face for the first time, really, in all its glory in the gameplay footage. And the title, pixels. Metal Gear Solid, above his head, and the music hits just perfectly. And then another cutscene. You're immediately treated to another cutscene. And it's a very long-winded one, and as they're doing that, they intertwine these cutscenes with what they call the codec. Now, the codec is one of the most important parts of the game, because this is how you really understand most of the backstory. Okay, and they're not just, they're diving deep, because you've got Colonel Campbell, you've got Mei Ling, who's in charge of she created the radar that you use on screen that shows you where the enemies are, which shows you when they're alerted, when they're noticing things, your surroundings, the map layout.
Sort of like a medical help too.
Yeah, and she's gonna explain to you different things with how your equipment works. She's also going to save your mission data, and she's there to pep you up. If you just need a nice little Chinese proverb, go save the game, and she's going to give you a little motivational speech. Then you've got Naomi Hunter, who's the doctor from Foxhound, and she's there for medical support. So there's a whole cast of people there to help you. And if you really want to get deep into it, you've also got another old soldier buddy, Master Miller, who is also fighting buddies with Snake back in the day. And then you've also got weapons technology expert Natasha Romanenko. You can go through the entire game without even contacting her once if you choose. It's one of those extra things that they throw in there. So you've got a whole cast of characters you can talk to, essentially what's like a Bluetooth headset, but it's inserted into your bloodstream via nanotechnology. Now, so if you're not thoroughly confused already with everything I just said.
Well, no, I just want to say I, for one, felt really confident going in there knowing that Master Miller had my back.
Absolutely.
Mission, okay, like that was the one that, like,
as Snake says, there's nobody who'd rather have in a foxhole than Master Miller.
No. Yeah. So he never lets you down. So
yeah.
But we'll.
So and that's another fun thing. Like they're intertwining these cutscenes with the codec calls, and you're learning how to play the game. They're explaining to you what buttons to push, where to go, how to handle yourself. Like it doesn't take you out of the game that they're explaining, okay, hit the action button to climb the ladder. But if you get stuck in an area, you can call them, and they'll try to push you in the right direction. Call them enough times, and they'll just flat out tell you, hey, dumbass, this is what you need to do. So you're never going to be too far gone in this game. But if you don't do the whole looking around and trying to find every little thing you can miss things that are going to be vital to the gameplay. So they will push you in the direction to make sure you look, find, search, try to find everything you can. But you're finally infiltrating the base. You finally get inside. Your first objective, you've got a couple of hostages to try and save. What are you doing here? Why are you there? Well, Special Forces Foxhound is the enemy, and they are a government special forces unit that has gone rogue. They have taken over this island called Shadow Moses off the coast of Alaska. It is below freezing there, and they have access and support from what is known as the Genome Army. It's a entire super soldier, well, not super soldier, not like Steve Rogers Captain America, but they're enhanced. They have enhanced vision and enhanced abilities in terms of withstanding the cold, and maybe a little bit with, increased stamina and strength, if you will. So you've got your back up against the wall, and you're just a one-man unit. So now you know what you got going in. So you've got a whole group of big bads and an army behind them. So we run down the cast of enemies, Phil.
Now, why didn't you call them the Genome Soldiers, though?
Well, it's Genome Army. They're enhanced. I mean, that's what it is.
Okay. Now, Tony, there's one character you forgot. That's Deep Throat.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, so the setup is beautiful. You're at this isolated island in the Fox Archipelago. No help is coming. You're a one-man crew. You got to go in and do it yourself, Snake. And it's all got to be done super hush-hush because nuclear weapons are involved. And at first you're like, okay, so nukes are somehow involved, but like how are they supposed to launch a nuke from this place? I don't get it. Like,
well, that's the fun thing about this is right out of the gate, the interaction that Snake's having with Campbell and his support team via codec, you get the sense they're not telling him everything, and you can feel the distrust. You can feel it. Snake's still trying to trust him because he doesn't have any other option.
Colonel,
he's already there.
Knowing me.
Exactly. So there's a whole thing of like, who do I even trust here? And there's a lot of uneasiness throughout this game. And again, the music and the setting and the haunting atmosphere really, really drive that home. It's very suspenseful. The whole game is. And it's beautiful how that really just, it tapers with your emotions in every different portion of this game. So you don't even get to a boss right away. Now that's at least let you get familiarized with sneaking around before you can truly start fighting. The first thing you're going to find once you start getting into the building, you're going to find the old trusted SOCOM pistol. And this is it's a staple of the game. And you've got to have this pistol because it's going to be what you use the most. The beauty of it is you can completely skip picking up the suppressor that's in a completely different area in that first location if you don't look hard enough. And if you don't have the suppressor, now you are at the mercy of using it against your enemies, because if you fire it off without the suppressor, you're going to alert all the guards in the area of where you are. Now, sound and making noise, obviously, if you're playing an espionage game and you're trying to be stealthy, you don't want to make any noise. You got to look around and get that suppressor. But you don't even know that there's a suppressor on your first playthrough. That's the beauty of it.
Now, I looked it up. The real SOCOM pistol from the video game is a Mark 23 by Heckler & Koch. So it's a pistol you actually can obtain, but to get the exact setup that Snake has, that will cost a little more money in terms of getting a suppressor and a very expensive light on it.
Oh, for sure.
So
it's
but
available.
It gives it that kind of that completed boxy look. But it's the HK Mark 23. So nice. That's one that's like if I wasn't so knowledgeable about Glocks, that would be one to consider. But yeah, so the SOCOM pistol, iconic, and they didn't even. I don't think they changed that one up until like Metal Gear Solid 4 when Snake had a 1911.
Right. No, it's kind of been a staple. Like it was one of those things you're very familiar with. Like it's you hope it's in the game, because if it's not, it just feels dirty. Like it has to be there. If you don't see that in your weapon list, it feels dirty.
Well, I mean, golly, that would be like having a Metal Gear Solid game where you don't play as Snake for most of it.
Okay, stop it. Don't even.
Okay,
we're not going there. We're not going there. So you've snuck into the base. You're on base. You get the call from Master Miller. Hey, I'm here for support. You got any questions about the area? you're not as familiar with Alaska as I am, so hey, call me if you need to talk about the snow, I guess.
Or if you just have some intelligence you'd like to share.
Yeah, if you want to tell me all about the mission that you're on that I'm helping you with. Um, so you get in, and this is where you can get you get all the way up to the first meeting with the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson. He's one of the hostages that you've got to save. That's the point in the demo disc that I played. You can get to him, and it's over after that. So that should be enough to hook you. Snake drops.
They kill off the DARPA chief, and then they
Okay,
end it?
hang on.
Bro, that's cruel and unusual punishment.
I've got a note. I know. But that's the hook. Like, that's how they get you to buy the game. You get all the way up, you save the guy, and then he dies.
At that
Spoiler
point, shut up and take my money.
I know. But this is where I have to mention this. Okay, it's attention to detail, and it's the Easter eggs, and it's the little hidden things that you would have to just waste hours and hours and hours to discover. On the way to Donald Anderson, there is one of the most infamous things that you can do. So there is a woman in this game called Meryl. She is also imprisoned in the cell adjacent to the DARPA chief. You climb up a air duct shaft, and you pass by her cell first before you drop into his to talk to him. If you crawl back out and crawl back in, the first time she's doing like push-ups, the second time she's doing sit-ups, the third time she's doing something else. If you go back a fourth time and re-enter the shaft, she will now be in her underwear. This is one of those little things, and she'll do that in that cycles over and over and over. It's at this point you realize Hideo Kojima's a fucking pervert, as well as a master genius.
He is a master genius that is also at times a
highly perverted
child. You know, like I don't know perverted.
Yes.
Yeah, like I would go like.
Oh no, I will, and I'm going to explain why.
Someone's sexually arrested, if that makes sense.
Oh no, I'm going to explain why.
Okay, I'll let you. Maybe I'm not as. Now, granted, Tony, when it comes to like the weird mind of Hideo Kojima, I don't know what you would call him after watching Death Stranding.
Well,
but that's
yeah. So you drop in the cell and you start talking to the DARPA chief. The DARPA chief he's a high-rated official within the government and privatized military, and he is in charge of a lot of things, as well as what he's actually there for, that Snake has not been debriefed on, even though there's all these briefing tapes and a whole intro. What is he there for? He is there to oversee the production of the new Metal Gear Rex. And Snake is very familiar with the Metal Gear program, because if you played the two original games on the Nintendo, that is the big bad boss of the game, the big weapon. It's a walking mobilized tank that can shoot nuclear missiles. Snake is unaware of this when he came to the island. He's like, and you can tell he's got a bit of a trauma because of the cutbacks and the flashes and the memories that he has of it.
Gear.
Yeah, it's very tense in this moment. And the DARPA chief's like, how do you know about that? He's, well, I've had a few run-ins in the past with it. So now they're talking top secret stuff, and all of a sudden he starts asking Snake a couple questions about arming and disarming the Metal Gear program, and when all of a sudden he has a heart attack out of nowhere, drops dead. Snake does, no, we're not there yet. We're ways off from that. So he dies. So Snake's got to get out of the cell. The cell door opens up. As he comes around the corner, he hears a ruckus, and then he comes around the corner after the door opens. And this is why Hideo Kojima is a fucking pervert. There is a guard face down, ass up, butt ass naked, with a little blur over his butthole. Okay? A little pixelated blur. And this guy's just there. Face down, ass up, sitting there. And he's going to stay there. Okay? Like, he's going to stay there forever.
Yep, that's his fate in the game.
So this is where you meet Meryl, but you don't officially know it yet. But she steals the clothes from the guard that she knocks out, and all of a sudden, her and Snake have a back and forth. He realizes that she's never shot anybody, that she's a brand new rookie soldier, and they are ambushed by some guards, and he has to explain to her how to shoot and how to kill people, and so she does it, and holy shit. Then she runs off, and as he's trying to follow her, she blasts at him, but she gets on an elevator and goes up. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you meet one of the First bosses you'll encounter in the game, Psycho Manus. You have a big hallucination of this crazy, creepy, gothic, gas mask wearing, floating fucking entity talking with this Darth Vader voice. And it's very creepy. And you're like, what fucking game am I playing now? So Snake calls his support staff to ask about Psycho Manus. So now that we've introduced him, let's go down the cast of the bosses. I think this is a must at this point. So Psycho Manus is one of the members of Foxhound. He is a super duper telepath he can read minds, and he has telekinesis, and he can move stuff with his mind.
And he is, in my opinion, one of the greatest bosses in console gaming history.
And he floats. So there's that. You also have Revolver Ocelot, who is about as campy of a Western character as you can meet, but he's so fantastic. He's got what a great voice. The look is that of an old gunslinger. He's even literally using a revolver. You've got Sniper Wolf, who is
Can I just say, Revolver Ocelot's got one of the most confusing origin stories for a Western gunslinger.
For sure. Yeah, the connection's very odd.
Yeah,
Sniper Wolf is a buxom blonde Russian, I believe, who is expert marksman who will just wait days at a time to take down her opponents.
We make that assumption based on the fact that she had like 3 extra pixels added around the chest area.
Yeah, so you could really see the cleavage of her open suit, even though they're in the freezing Alaskan winter.
When I was listening to The Best Is Yet to Come in the tractor yesterday, there was a YouTube comment, and it was perfect. And it said, F you, I'm not crying over some non-existent sniper with 5 pixels for a face. You're crying over some non-existent sniper with 5 pixels for a face. That whole... But yeah, that was an emotional trip.
We'll get there.
Sniper Wolf.
So after Sniper Wolf, you've also got Vulcan Raven, who is a giant behemoth. Dave Bautista in his prime looking motherfucker with a Gatling gun on his back and a railgun on his
He would be a good
arm.
guy to play him in a live action.
In his prime for sure. You've also got Decoy Octopus, who is a master of disguise, can essentially impersonate anybody he wants. And you've also got the leader of Foxhound unit, Liquid Snake, who has the same code name as Solid Snake, your protagonist, who you're playing as. And
I wonder if those two have any sort of connection.
Oh, do they, Phil? Yes, they just might. So that's your, and then of course the Genome Soldiers that are all just wearing like white suits.
Okay, no, not the Genome Soldiers. The Genome Soldiers.
Thank you.
Right. All right.
Thank you.
All right, but yeah.
So you've
Genome Soldiers.
You've been introduced to Psycho Manus in the game now, and it continues. And they explain, he's a member of Foxhound, and they reiterate who Snake's up against at this point. That's when Campbell tells him that, okay, that's Meryl. She's my niece. She was part of the soldier program out there, and then when everybody went rogue, she didn't go along with it. You've got to save her too now, so congratulations. Oh, okay, great. So at this point,
the fetch quest.
Yeah, at this point, Snake's like, well, I'll do what I got to do. So now he has to go find the other hostage. That's Kenneth Baker, who's president of it's president of Arms Tech. That'd be the makers of the weapons. Okay. He is he's in another building. So to get to him, you go across a snowfield. But to get to the snowfield, you've got to get out of the tank hangar that you're in. This is where the cigarettes come in handy. Which you wonder why you have cigarettes in your inventory. There are actually laser beams going up and down in a room that you've got to cross through. And you have to stop in front of them to see where the laser is to go under them without getting detected. Otherwise, poisonous gas is going to fill the room and you will die. Ironically, you have to smoke cigarettes to get through it. So it's kind of hilarious.
So ironically, in the game, you have to smoke cigarettes to save your life.
Yeah. The more you know, kids. Once you get through there, you get out of the building, and all of a sudden, Phil, you get a call on the codec from that mysterious man named Deep Throat.
Very unfortunate. I do have to say, it's like, dude, even in the 90s, Yeah, to know that wasn't
Well,
great.
okay, and that Snake even like, what, the informant from the Watergate scandal? Never mind
Yeah,
about
it
that.
seemed a little dated too.
You're in a minefield. You've got to avoid all the mines, which you can just crawl along the snow and pick up the mines, and then they're in your inventory. Or you can use the mine detector for no good fucking reason. I've never understood why that was even why anybody would do
Hey,
that.
Tony, that was very useful for all kinds of situation.
None whatsoever. Because you can just pick up the claymores, but I digress. But then he also tells you, once you get past the minefield, Vulcan Raven's in a tank waiting for you. So here's your big first boss fight. You get up there, and Vulcan Raven pops out of the tank and starts talking all sorts of just
starts monologuing. Yep.
Yeah, monologuing like a motherfucker, and he's good at it. They're all good at it, and it's actually one of my favorite introductions to a boss. I don't know why. It's short and sweet, but it's right to the point, and he's in a fucking tank, and he's a gigantic man. So he's firing tank blasts off. You've got to like hide up against the side of the mountain to avoid it. And once you get close enough, you've got to lob grenades and avoid the barrel of the tank. Lob grenades up there, and the soldier that's running the turret like goes flying off. You pick up his key card and you bolt it for the next building. So once you get in there,
yeah, I don't think you ever technically actually beat him. You just kind of
not there. You do not beat him. You beat the soldier he had running the gun turret. You get into the next building, and you cannot use your weapons because this is the actual nuclear warhead disposal facility. So they suppress your ability to fire your weapons in this location. So your stealth is vital at this point. And the floor is like chain link. So you have to do a lot of crawling and walking to avoid alerting the soldiers that you're there, because again, they'll lock the room down, fill it with gas, you'll die. And there's security cameras you've got to avoid at this. Or sorry, a surveillance camera all over the game. Got to avoid those.
I mean, dude, this was 1998. A surveillance camera. They really care about this facility. I mean, they're spending the money to get a surveillance camera. That was like someone's yearly wage to get those surveillance cameras put up. Now
it's a nuclear warhead disposal building, Phil. They're going to have plenty of
now those. Everybody's carrying a surveillance camera. Like now, that's kind of like, yeah, Snake. Are you kidding me? Every step you make in every direction, there's gonna be some moron doing this. Come on, yes. And that'd be quite a spy game, just all through the perspective of people's cell phones.
So once you make it through that building into the elevator, you go down to one of the basement floors, and you are met with the task of going around. It's a room with like 9 little rooms in it, a big room with 9 rooms in it. Some of them are open by different levels.
Is this one of the puzzles?
Kind of. So that's the fun thing about this. Like the graphics we mentioned are pretty bad even for its time. And the lighting in this game is really off. So you have to really pay attention. So some of the pieces of the wall look a little different. You know, the classic trope. Obviously, there's something behind that. You had to get C4, blow holes in wall to gain access to different areas. That's what you have to do to get to the other hostage. You have to blow a hole in the wall, run down a hallway, and this is where you meet the president of Armstech, Ken Baker, and he is tied up in the center of a room that is rigged up with C4. This is where you meet Revolver Ocelot. And he monologues amazingly, and you fight with him. And this is one of those instances, thank goodness there wasn't first person, because it would totally take away from the fight. The camera cuts back, and you've got to chase him around with a SOCOM. He's firing with a revolver. You can't get too close to C4. You'll all blow up. So it's awesome. And he's bending bullets like it's wanted, and it's awesome. One of the better fights in the game, for sure. You beat him, and then all of a sudden, he's about to take another shot at you, and all of a sudden, his hand falls to the floor. And a ninja comes out of nowhere who just sliced off his hand out of nowhere. You don't have any clue who this fucking guy is. He comes out of nowhere. And now the C4 explodes and Ocelot runs away and the ninja disappears. Now you've got another cutscene with this guy who's an old, just dickhead arms dealer for the government. So this is one of those fun little things. He's like, okay, I've got to meet Meryl. You were in contact with her. How do I get into contact? Well, I don't remember how to get a hold of her, but I think her number's on the back of the disc that I just gave you. He gives you a disc with all the test data for Metal Gear. But this is neat because if you actually look on the back of the CD case of the game, her codec number is on the back of the disc, or on the back of the disc case. So if you rented this game from like Blockbuster, or you're pirated screwed. It, or you're playing it, on a different version or platform years later, you don't have access to that number. So,
now, can I be like the guy that he's talking to, the dude who's the CEO of Arms Corp or Arms Tech? Like, in my mind, when I saw him, first thing I thought of was the movie Rush Hour with Chris Tucker, where he says, whenever you're looking at any kind of scam, look for some fat old rich white man that's making money at the end of it. He's who I thought of. Like, that pixel, like, it was only 5 pixels for a face, but it was just exactly who you think of. Yeah, of course he's making money off of selling nukes to psychopaths. Yeah, this is the kind of guy I would think of.
Yeah. So, okay, and I think I went through that, like, kind of back ass words, but you actually, yeah, I crisscrossed some of the land of this game.
He starts talking to him, starts revealing some actual information, and then, I do gotta say, there must be some bug going around.
Right, it's crazy.
The Shadow Moses facility.
Weird, yeah. He suddenly falls ill and also has a heart attack and dies.
And he seems to infer that, like, for some reason he's blaming Snake, but Snake's just asking him questions. So, guy clearly
Snake doesn't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden this guy that's dying has like a moment of clarity, and he starts thinking something, and he's about to say it. They're just using you, and then he dies. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. And again, I got a little... I crossed some of the gameplay and the order it comes in here, but after he gets done with him, you go up a floor, I believe, in the elevator to another spot, and this is gonna have, I think this is where you get the Nikita rocket launcher. Ooh. And this is a vital weapon you've got to have. It's a remote controlled missile. And you can do this a couple of ways. You can just fire it and then in the third person watch the missile and you can kind of control it.
That was always, I don't know why I really enjoyed that part.
Well, so what I was surprised to find out is some people didn't know that you can actually use this with first person. If you blast the missile off and then hit the first person view button, you can control it in first person, which makes it 1,000 times easier to control. I didn't know that people were not aware of this. I learned that actually doing a little bit of my prep for this. So if you haven't gone back and played this game in a while, people, I do suggest doing that and trying that if you never did. So you need this Nikita missile launcher because you've got to get to an area where there's gas filled in the room again. And the only way to stop the gas in the electrified floor, of course, is on the room on the other side of you. Well, so you blast this missile down a hallway, down another hallway, up another room, into another room, avoiding the gun turrets, and you blow up a computer and it takes out the electrified floor. This is another Deep Throat call. He tells you how to do it. So you blow that up, you enter a few more rooms, pick up some more items, and then you go down another hallway. This is where the game gets... If you had that horror element with the Psycho Mantis appearance, it gets back into that suspense horror here. Because you go down another hallway, and it cuts to black, and then a cutscene begins. And you don't really see the carnage. You see the aftermath of the carnage. There are soldiers just all over the floor, indentions in the wall, blood everywhere, corpses littered the hallway.
At this point, I'm like, dude, do we have to go down this hallway?
Absolutely.
I don't know if we have to. Unfortunately, the one MacGuffin item that you need is going to be in that room down the hallway. And that's when you see the cyborg ninja.
Yeah. But you don't see him at first because he's using stealth camouflage. He's invisible. He's holding a soldier up on like his blade. And then he fades back in and you see what's holding the sword. And it's creepy as shit. And the music playing is wicked. So you follow him down this hallway as more people are like collapsing and dying. So you follow down, you finally enter the room, and you see a guy being cornered, literally pissing his pants. Great scene.
Great introduction.
Yeah, great introduction. And then you come up behind, hey, leave him alone. I need that guy. So that's when the ninja starts talking to you. And the ninja is, you can tell, mentally unstable, very, very much. He's not a member of Foxhound. He's just an unknown entity at this point. And he just wants to fight you hand to hand to the death. And you don't know why. So it begins. You try to use your weapons on him. They don't work. You've got to figure out another way because he is pretty much invulnerable. He'll start flipping his sword around and dodging all of your attacks, and he's pretty much untouchable with the weapons. So you've got to fight him hand to hand. So you go over, you do a little combination move and a kick to the gut. He jumps around. Then he starts getting all invisible. So you flip on your thermal goggles if you manage to find those and pick those up. You find him, you attack him, you get away. And once you get his health bar down quite a bit, he starts losing his mind, and his like this weird EMP shield starts blowing away. And now once it gets small, you can start like blasting him with your FAMAS machine gun. You finally beat this guy. He collapses the floor, and he starts talking to Snake in a different way at this point. And he's asking him if he remembers him. And Snake all of a sudden has this light bulb moment. Oh my gosh, it can't be.
Land.
It can't be. You're Gray Fox. And if you play the Nintendo games, Gray Fox was one of the people he saved in the first game, but
As
had
we
to
all have.
kill in the second game. So it's an old friend, an old combat buddy, but somebody he ultimately had to kill in the second game. But now he's back, and he's a ninja, and he's a robot. So things are going crazy at this point. He loses his mind, screams, runs out of the room. So now Snake has to go monologue with this scientist who just pissed himself, and this goes on for a while. So get comfortable. This is your introduction to Hal Emmerich, because they have a long conversation, and they waste a lot of time at one point because they start talking about otaku and anime for no good fucking reason.
Because take a wild guess what you think Hideo Kojima is.
Yeah, you start getting Easter eggs at other games he's made.
Yeah, that one was okay. I gotta share this. One time I saw, it was a YouTube short on how to make Lego Otacon, and they used the beekeeper's white pants because there's little yellow stains all over the pants, like, you know, because they're collecting honey, but for him it's a little different. So that, I was like, that's a good Easter egg. A+.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, like, I'm sorry, but like, so this guy just comes into the game as just couldn't be more of a juxtaposition to Snake.
Oh yeah, it's the yin and yang. Like Snake is this badass, cool
under fire,
yeah,
and this guy
dark, handsome,
clearly not. I mean,
this is a nerd.
Now, granted, all right, if a cyborg ninja kills 40 people in front of you and then goes invisible and then not invisible and then visible a few times, you know, I suspect quite a few people that we know might piss themselves, T.
I know that's fair. I think I might have a bit of an element of fear if I saw
let's
that. Yeah,
say it might depend on how recently you just gone to the bathroom.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Like if I had a big slam, you know, that's a 90s reference, by the way, a big slam. If I had a big slam, yeah, I'd probably piss myself.
I mean, is there any way we can integrate the Bigfoot pizza pack from Pizza Hut while we're at it? Like, I mean,
absolutely.
Bring that back, Pizza Hut.
Absolutely. Let's make that happen.
It was under $20 and you could feed a whole family. If there's anything we need, like nowadays, they'd bring that back, it'd be $72. So yeah, unfortunately, welcome to 2025. But but goodness gracious. So where are we on the storyline, T?
So where we're at now, Otacon, that's Hal Emmerich's nickname, Otacon. They have a long conversation.
The cyborg ninja.
They have a long conversation. Otacon gives him another key card. You're gathering these key cards so you can access different door numbers. There's a bunch that you've already passed that have higher clearance than you have. So now you get to go back, and you're going to go back through the same areas. And now you'll get access to them and get new weapons, new items. So your inventory is constantly growing. That's another thing I failed to mention. Your life bar after you beat a boss will increase. So by the end of it, your health bar gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So there is that. He tells you, okay, I was in contact with Meryl at one point. You know, you're already going to meet her, so go meet her, and you guys can go do this thing, essentially. So you're trying to figure out how to get into contact with her. So he tells you where she would be, and you go to another area. I think you go up a floor or whatever, and there's a, it's kind of like a computer lab. It looks like one of the guards that she's dressed up as, she's running around wearing this guard's outfit. So you watch them and figure out which one is moving differently. What I mean by that is, and Hideo Kojima makes it a point to say, hey, stare at her ass because she's going to wiggle her ass. Because Snake says that. Literally, that's part of the dialogue. Okay, I got to go back. Okay, again.
And with these few pixels, that's what you got to go on.
So yeah, you've got to watch the guards' asses to figure out who's wiggling their ass as they walk around. That's Meryl. I forgot to mention, remember the guard that was face down, ass up, butt naked with the pixelated butthole? Yeah. Fun fact, if you take your scope and zoom in, the pixelation goes away and you can just stare at Brown Eye. Little Easter egg there for you, folks.
Tony,
makes you want to go back and replay that game.
Now, did you find that out from a player's guide? Say you did. Or did you find that out just on your own, just playing, just self-discovery?
So you got to find Meryl.
Okay.
Okay, and not only that, but okay, and the best part, like, I forgot to mention another one. When you first get to the fucking island and Naomi's explaining some of your items, and he says, hey, I'm grateful for all this, the suppressors for the cold medicine that you gave me so I don't die of hypothermia, but I got strip searched and just drug in here and sent to an island. And Naomi chimes in, hey, if you make it back in one piece, I'll let you do a strip search on me. So there's sexual innuendo all over this fucking game.
Now, the thing is, like, in that regard, I kind of, like, that, again, made it feel real. This is a dude that's just hitting on a chick.
Interaction.
Okay?
Like, now, mind you, that's important, Phil. The interaction feels real, but the translation, you can tell from Japanese to English is not always fluent. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the dialogue, the way the words are placed sentence structure wise are way off.
More like what would be considered appropriate in certain conversation. Okay, like Japanese, let's call it courtship, has certain subtleties, but also there's parts where things are injected into conversation that would seem very off to the Western listener. And you and I definitely kind of like, that seemed a little out of place. But yeah, so it's that one was one of those first time seeing the world through a different cultural lens, if you will.
Well, there's a lot more pervert shit about to happen.
Yeah.
So you figure out which one of the guards is Meryl, and you spook her, and she runs to the women's room. And if you run fast enough into the women's room behind her, she'll be wearing her underwear through the cutscene, because of course she will.
Because yes, Hideo Kojima is in junior high, apparently.
Yep, of course.
That's...
So you finally meet up with her, and you have a little heart-to-heart felt about how she's never seen real combat. She's out of her element. She was a fan of Foxhound way back when. Snake and her uncle were the soldiers of the unit, and blah blah blah. And it's very sweet, but it's going to feel a little awkward because, like I said, some of the translation and dialogue isn't quite up to snuff, but it's still a heartfelt moment, and they're bonding, right? They're bonding on the battlefield. So they continue. They start going down a hallway, and again, this is where the horror aspect of this comes back out of nowhere. You start walking down the hallway, and she just like gets a migraine out of nowhere. And the music like stops and changes to something very, very haunting. And all of a sudden, if you didn't realize it before, but now if you hit first person view, instead of looking through Snake's eyes, you're looking through Meryl's eyes all of a sudden. And the tint is completely like green as
right.
Yeah. And and it's all like distorted and colored differently, and she sounds weird, and the music's off, but you're trying to get down this hallway, so you have to just trudge on. And you get into a room called the commander's room. And all of a sudden she starts acting all sorts of erratic. She picks her gun up and starts pointing it at Snake, and she starts asking him to make love to her.
Yep, that one was like, okay, Hideo, you need to stop writing yourself into the story.
That's one of those moments where your mom's gonna walk into the room as you're playing.
That moment, she's holding a gun to you, saying, "Snake, make love to me," and then your parents are like, video games these days, they're corrupting our youth.
Yep.
And you're like, I don't even know what I'm watching here. Okay, like this is one of those
Gore was right.
Yeah, like this is one of those moments where you as a kid almost go, I need a grown up. But yeah, so that's all happening.
But that's when it's revealed that Psycho Mantis is controlling her, and he comes out of the woodwork, also using like optic camouflage. It's not stealth camouflage; it's optic, because there's a difference, apparently.
Huge.
It's all invisible. So
one was made by Raytheon, one was made by Lockheed Martin. That's the big difference there.
So Campbell calls you on the codec. Okay, Naomi's like, okay, obviously she's being manipulated by Psycho Mantis. Just knock her out. So you've got to beat the shit out of her until she's unconscious.
I was about to say, do you know it took until WWE 2K25 to have intergender matches. But in 1998, Metal Gear Solid
pistol whip Meryl.
I was like, dude, and like to me, I was like, well, like, it's like, dude, this game's got some stuff in it, but
it's dark.
Yeah, it got a little dark, and then you begin in like, so this is how it starts, because like at one point I think like she was almost gonna kill herself. He
saves that for like the middle of the fight. Okay. He pops her up, and she's gonna like shoot herself in the head.
Now, if we were like actually monetized, we would have to use words like unalived and that kind of nonsense. But you know what's great, T? We don't have to worry about any of that, because like we can still speak freely. Those are my least favorite shows, when they start using words like unalived. I'm like, don't give into their Orwellian nonsense. Like, come on, like, no, it's like, but yeah, so we can actually say the kind of things we want. But if you want to actually help the show out, go to buymeacoffee.com/TonyG. I mean,
there you go. It's that simple, folks. It's just that simple.
Yeah, if you want to help the show out in any way, shape, form, or figure, that's how you do that. But getting right back to it, at this point, like, T, the first time you had me watch this fight, you didn't swap the controller. Right. You let me kind of get the anxiety of, oh my goodness, how are we gonna beat this guy? How are we gonna win? And I had no idea. And at one point he's like, well, we got to trick him. He only knows port 1. You pull out the controller, pop it into port 2, and now he couldn't predict your moves. Now, thing is, I have no clue how Hideo Kojima even got that programmed into the game. That's one of those, I'll never forget. There was somebody writing an article about Hideo Kojima that said if he could legally get away with putting a live scorpion inside of the box of Metal Gear Solid 3 when you go to open it, he would. Like, he would make you have to avoid a scorpion the minute you open the box. Just like, no, I want you to know what you're getting into from the minute you even open the box of this game. You're fighting off scorpions, and then you're plugging it in, and then during the install time, like, if he could have like a spy come try to get you, Like, yeah, he would do that. Okay, like he's that insane. But
So yeah,
at
this
that
is one of
point,
those mechanics they put into this game that it was very revolutionary. And this is one of those most profound moments in gaming history, I feel like, because this is the moment like everybody remembers. If you remember nothing else about the game, you remember the Psycho Mantis fight
yep.
because of all the crazy shit that happens. And it's not just the changing the controller port to beat him. Because like you said, if you leave it in, you don't know what you're doing, you will fail this boss fight like 10 times over, and you'll have to keep hitting continue, retry. And eventually your support staff will like I said, they'll start nudging you in the right direction. Well, he knows the present, but he can't predict the future. And they're trying to insinuate, and eventually they will flat out tell you if you die enough times, hey, try it in the other controller port. So eventually you figure it out. But it's not just that, because at first, when he introduces himself and he's doing his monologue, another of the cool things back on the PlayStation, we had what was called memory cards.
No.
We didn't have internal storage. Okay. So you had what was called a memory card. If you had other game save files on your memory card that were made by Konami, Psycho Mantis would actually read your memory card and say, "Oh, you like playing this game. Oh, you like playing that game. Well, that's interesting. You like playing this game." And he'd read the titles of the other Konami games. So it was another one of those crazy interactive aspects that you did not expect. And it's never really, nobody's ever done anything like that before. But not only that, he would also look at your statistics of your gameplay, how many times you'd saved the mission. If you saved it a lot, you're very cautious. You're overly cautious, even. Maybe you're scared. If you didn't save it a lot, you're somewhat reckless. You have not saved the game often. He would go back on like how you're playing the game, and that would be instrumental onto the dialogue that he was giving you. Because you can play the game several different ways, and it's going to give you a slightly different dialogue depending on your style of play. So there were like 3 different aspects of interactivity that this boss fight had with you, the person controlling it. So it made it so interesting because there was never anything like that up until this point. And the character was so interesting and unique and haunting. It just made it all the more captivating in the end result. Like the character design, the voice acting, the interactivity, just and the emergence of the situation and the gravity of the situation. It's just all a perfect combination of what Hideo Kojima could really, when he hit a home run, it's a fucking out of the park home run. And the Psycho Mantis fight is absolutely an out of the
when
park
he
home run.
had Konami to kind of rein him in a little bit. Let me
Right,
just
for
say
sure.
that.
But yeah,
It,
once upon a time.
yeah, like the thing is, like there are times when there's those collaborative measures where the creative does need the bean counter, for lack of better terms.
Supervision, yeah.
Yeah, like because the thing is, like, yeah, Hideo Kojima basically convinced the world that he was video game Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
And to an extent,
yeah,
he kind
kind
of
of.
is. But yeah, like the thing is with Konami, sort of tempering things, if you will. I do get the feeling that like it's like, okay, Hideo, we got to stay within parameters that people are going to understand, and we have to actually hit a deadline. Okay,
Yeah.
like, and so that was
He'd
a
still be
structure
working on this game like today.
yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, you got to remember, and this is the problem that a lot of creatives always forget is, and I forget who said it. It's attributed to Da Vinci, but it's probably wrong. But it says art is not finished; it's abandoned.
Mm,
Okay, so eventually you just have to walk away from it. Because, yeah, you can
yeah.
continue to keep perfecting it and perfecting it and perfecting it, but you just got to walk away from it eventually. And so that's why George Lucas said he wanted to touch up the original Star Wars trilogy, is because he said art's not finished, it's abandoned. And so he wanted to get to the things he abandoned. And we were all like, no, I think you abandoned it at just the right time. Let's call it good. But so anyhow, we're moving on.
This is one I think, he nailed it just right though. And ironically, I think on my PlayStation 3 digital download of this game, I do actually have to manually go to the menu settings and change the controller port just so that this actually works. the same way as it did on the PlayStation 1. So at least on some versions of the game, it does still stay true. Because remember, this is when we had cords on controllers. People confused about what the controller port is that we're talking about. There were actual physical input outputs on the console with cords
Actual
attached to the
cords.
controller.
Like this, that like
Yeah.
actually plugged in, and
Yeah.
your distance was limited to however
Yeah.
far the cord could go, and so
You didn't have to charge your controller. Yeah, now when people think their controller's plugged in, it's because they forgot to charge it. So
yeah, like man, I feel like grandpa telling kids how
Yeah,
to
well,
and like to the kids
kinda
that
are.
listen to this, they're like, this is like listening to a going up hills both ways to school
We
type
used to
story.
take
Like,
the trolley.
you had to actually physically plug your controller in just to use it?
Yeah, we've hit that Back to the
Grandpa.
Future 2 line. You have to use your hands? It's like a baby toy. But yeah, we feel old. Anyway, so yeah, you finally plug the controller into the port 2. You can now do whatever you want to him. You can win. And once you do, Meryl is fine because the brainwashing is off. And you have a very and all the monologues with the bosses after you defeat them are really just
This one
somber and intense.
Yeah, this one left you feeling like a little like, dude, like okay, like this was the way, like after listening to this monologue was sort of the feeling that I got the first time I was out hunting with my brother and he got a deer. Like, and we're just staring there like, dude. Like, we get done with this boss fight, I'm sitting there like, dude, like, whoa, because he talks about what his childhood was like, and how he had these psychic powers, and how the mask was the only way that he could block it out, and that like people were always judging him, and like people, and he could never connect with people on a human level because he could hear what they were thinking, and he just wanted to be alone with his thoughts.
Yeah, it's intense.
It was like
this one and the second Sniper Wolf fight. It's that same feeling you get after watching American Sniper. It's just like, oh, I'm a little depressed now. So, but yeah, if you haven't played this boss fight, like if you play nothing else in the game, play this because it's just so interesting. Especially if you understand the limitations of the system at the time. This was just fucking groundbreaking.
I mean, it turned the limitations into the features.
Yeah, essentially. You're right. Yeah.
And so, like, in terms of an advertisement for the PlayStation, Metal Gear Solid was the best game via advertising for the PlayStation system.
Well, it's interesting you say that because the PlayStation itself had a pretty short lifespan. I think it was for what, like 95 to 2000. It was really only like a 5-year run that the PlayStation had. And Metal Gear Solid was at the end of that. So when people talk about like the landmark franchises of the PlayStation, Metal Gear Solid's really not one of them. Now on PS2, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, absolutely. But Metal Gear Solid 1 kind of was at the end of the PlayStation's lifespan. But man, it really sent the system out with a bang, because if you didn't have a PlayStation before and you saw the reviews for this game, you were going to at least try to get one to play this game.
Okay, there's something I do want to say, and we're not going to get into this other game tonight, but there's one thing that I found interesting about almost universal reaction to Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's not the one you're going to think of, but because of the upgrade in pixels, almost everybody said, Snake doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
Because it's only 5 pixels. We all filled in our minds who Snake was.
Yeah.
And that's why
you had to use your imagination.
Yeah. And so, like, and so we're like, Snake didn't look like that. And that was everybody's reaction. Now, I'd say by Metal Gear Solid 4, they got it down. But but neither here nor there. Now, we get done with
Psycho Mantis. Psycho Mantis tells you that Meryl has a crush on you. He helps you move a bookcase with his mind, and then he dies.
But then, once you move
sounds
through
anticlimactic.
That bookcase, there's something you got to do, T. If I recall correctly, isn't this where you swap the discs?
Oh no! We're ways off from that, actually.
Okay.
It was surprising because there was a lot less on the second disc than there was the first disc. Like it was almost like they maxed it out and just put like a third of the game on the second disc. No, this is where you go into the caves now. You start crawling under caves and you start encountering all the Alaskan wolf dogs.
That's right.
And they will attack you because they're dicks.
Wolf huskies. I actually thought about getting a wolf husky years ago, just because they are aggressive dogs, but they'll be fiercely loyal to you. But also, I am a huge mark for Metal Gear Solid. If
There
you're
you
not aware yet, but yeah, so that one, yeah, they're mean dogs, but they will be loyal musher dogs for you if you need to mush. But yeah, in that game, they'll a wild wolf husky will tear you up.
So this is one of those weird Easter egg parts of the game. Like you've got to crawl into these caves. Meryl goes ahead of you. She gets through it fine. You're crawling under, trying to avoid these dogs, and they're biting the shit out of you. You finally meet up with her, and they're sitting at her foot, like just in love with her. They like her.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is one of those fun little things you got to figure out on your own. If you like shoot her and then quickly go into a cardboard box, FYI, well, that's one of your items to sneak around is the cardboard box. You can hide in there. But if you shoot her once and go into the cardboard box, one of the dogs will come up and piss on the box. And now the box will smell like piss, and you can go through the caves without them attacking you. FYI. One of those fun little features he adds. So you get through there, and you enter a outdoor corridor, and Meryl starts walking around a minefield because when Mantis was in her head, she could see the outlay of where the mines were. Again, another stupid feature because you can just crawl across the claymores.
But Tony, Mantis.
Well, okay, and that's another thing. With the mine detector, you could see where they are on the radar, but the radar was jammed here, so she has to walk around them, and then you have to run through or crawl around them before the tracks disappear in the snow, because your footprints leave tracks, FYI. So, but you can just crawl across the claymore and pick them up. So it just, whatever. Once you get through that, all of a sudden, there's a red dot on Meryl, and she starts getting blasted. They just shoot the fuck out of her. And she's laying there in a heap, dying. Snake's screaming. And obviously a sniper wolf. Clear up in the balcony of this at the end of this corridor. You don't have a sniper rifle to fight her with, though. So you've got to go clear ass back. Way, way back. Back through the cave. Back through the Mantis fight. Back through the warheads. Back over here. You go into the thing. You find the sniper rifle. FYI. If you have the item called diazepam at this point, make sure you got plenty of it. You bust ass back. Like you fly through all these areas. You get back, blood stain on the snow, she's gone. But Sniper Wolf's not. You're sitting there ready to go. So this is one of those things. You've got to make sure your items and your weapons are up to snuff because you've got to take diazepam as you use the sniper rifle to settle your nerves. Otherwise, the scope on the sniper rifle will bounce around and you can't get a clear shot. So you've got to pop pills to keep your hand steady. And it doesn't last long. So you've got a sniper battle, an expert sniper.
Health according to Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, of course. So you pop pills and beat a sniper rifle at a sniper battle, and you go to like make sure she's dead, and you get ambushed by guards. They circle you. There she is. They knock you out. You're taken hostage. You wake up. You are strapped to a very elaborate electric chair, torture device, and there are multiple people in this room.
That's right. You're tortured in this game too.
Yep.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of messed up stuff.
It's one of the most pivotal parts of the game, if you don't recall.
Yes, I do.
So,
yeah, you get tortured in almost every game.
Yep, you sure do. You're in this room, and all of a sudden, you see who's in there. You see Revolver Ocelot. You see Sniper Wolf. And you see a long blonde head of hair. Finally, you see Liquid Snake in front of you. And he's talking with this British accent, and he is monologuing his ass off. Some of the just greatest lines in gaming history. This guy talks his ass off. And he's introducing himself as your brother. Little brother, big brother. I don't know. Does it matter? And you don't know, you're confused.
brother.
And they're starting to say some things that kind of sound fishy, but you don't really have the context. You don't really know what they're talking about, but you store it in your head. So after he gets done monologuing, he leaves. Sniper Wolf comes over and fucks with you. She leaves. Now it's just you and Ocelot with one hand. He's still pissed off about that. Mentions it to you. That's how pissed off he is about it. But wouldn't you be too? He explains the torture sequence. This is one of those moments. Like this was I think this is where I if I remember correctly, I think I actually figured out the plug the controller thing in the other port on my own because of this. Because I didn't see my uncle play the Manus fight. But he actually had me come over and help him with the torture scene because he'd played the Manus fight and realized, okay, both of the ports work. If I plug two controllers in and we both push the button to try to stave off the torture, will that help? I don't know if it did or not, but you've got to repeatedly smash the circle button to hold off your life bar dipping down to 0.
The one time,
and once he stops electrocuting you, you mash the shit out of it to get your health bar back all the way up as far as you can before he starts electrocuting the shit out of you again. And he'll do it like 3 or 4 times, and it's hard and it's rough, but you survive that, and he throws you in your cell.
I heard one guy used a chopstick and just he just like rubbed it back and forth over it, and that was how he got through that. And...
Well, Ocelot even says you can't use auto fire, which was a feature on a knockoff controller that I owned, and I tried, and it doesn't work. So, but this part of the game is where you have to make a choice. Will you endure the torture, or will you succumb to it? You can succumb to it and give up, or you can stick it out. If you stick it out,
game over or what?
Oh, no. It's not. So,
I forget.
If you give up and hit select, means give up. The torture's over. But you're going to have a vastly different ending to the game. If you endure it, you'll get the canonical ending to the game. So, FYI, you endure the torture, you go back to your cell, you call your support team, Naomi and Mei Ling and Campbell, and talk to them. You call Otacon, hey, bust me out of here. You got to do something. You go, nope, they're back. They're going to bring you back for more torturing. Okay, so you endure it again. You stick through it. You don't die, you endure it. And they take you back. Otacon shows up, and he's going to give you some shit. Like, hey, I thought you'd be hungry, so he gives you some ketchup. Because, of course. So, you've got to get out of the jail cell. There's 3 ways you can do it. You can either bust the ketchup and make it look like it's blood, and the guard comes in to check on you, beat him up. Or you hide under the bed, and the guard thinks you've disappeared, opens the cell, you pop out, beat him up, leave. Or you can go through like another round of torturing, I think, and then the ninja will actually break you out. So you're going to get out of here eventually. But the interesting thing about your cell is the dead corpse of the DARPA chief is in there with you. You know, the guy that died when you first got there.
Oh.
Except he's rotting. Yeah, no, he's just in there. He's dead and rotting. Like, there's maggots on him. Like, but he's only been dead for a little while. How could he already be decomposing? Strange. So you get out of there, you go get your gear, you run off, and...
So that's why I don't remember the last member of Fox die all that well.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the last guy, like, yeah, and he can disguise himself as anybody, like, you know, I don't remember him all that well. Like, did he monologue a lot? Sort of did at the beginning of the game.
Spoiler alert, he was technically your first boss fight. So you get out of the torture cell.
He didn't put up much of a fight.
No, he didn't, it turns out. So you get out of the torture cell, and Deep Throat calls you and says, hey, there's a bomb in your gear. So you've got to chuck that out. And you continue on. But I digress. Like, the torture scene, it's really... It's one of those very interactive. Like I said, it is vital to figure out which ending you want. And you don't know, but you want to endure it. I suggest that. It's the canonical ending. So it's better. And I the other one, I don't know. It just felt really awkward, and we can get into that. But you get out, But now you've got to go to another area, and I'll just gloss over some shit. There's an underground, blah blah blah. Then you get up to the top. This is where there's a really great scene. It's called the communications tower. Doesn't matter what you do. As you run into this room, you're going to pick up an item called the rope, and then you start running up staircases. And if you do it right, you can hit the action button and the fire button, and you can run with the FAMAS, and you can actually run up the staircase. And it's a circular square staircase. You run up a flight, up a flight, up a flight, up a flight. And as you're doing that, there's like 3 guards coming down and like 2 chasing you from behind. So you take out 3, you turn around, you blast another couple, and it lasts for a while. It's an endurance test. You've got to run up this entire flight of stairs up to the top floor of this building, taking out guards the whole way. So finally you get done doing that, and you go from one tower to the other, and as you're doing that, a helicopter ambushes you, and then you've got to rappel with the rope that you just picked up down the side of the building and go down another. Yeah, and it's Liquid Snake, and he's in a fucking helicopter now, so he's blasting at you while you're rappelling. Then you run down a fucking rail system, and there's guards at the end of that, and then the fucking hind shows up again. So you go to the other tower, and you're gonna try to get on the elevator, but it won't work, so you can't do that. So you've got to use the staircase and throw off chaff grenades, to throw off the machine gun turret security system cameras, and it's a whole ordeal. You pick up something, you go back, and I think you meet Otacon at that point, and he has a chit chat with you, and he's giving you more advice, and he asks you not to kill Sniper Wolf because he's in love with her, so on and so forth. Because of course,
boy, play the field a little bit more, Otacon. I mean, like, well, I mean, Snake, there's 3 women on this island. Obviously, I'm in love with one of them, and she's totally going to reciprocate that love.
Absolutely.
She's not going to give me pity empathy as she's laying there dying. That's not.
Of course not.
Yeah.
So you talk to him and say, hey, fix the elevator for me. You go and fight the hind, the fucking helicopter. That's where the gameplay gets a little like, okay, I don't know if I buy all this shit. You have to fight a helicopter with.
In one night, he was able to beat a tank and a chopper.
Yeah,
with his bare hands. And you wonder why young men wanted to be Solid Snake. Right. Okay? Like, yeah. He's got the kind of like hand-to-hand skills that kids think is attainable. Well, yeah, obviously, I could karate chop my way past the tank and the helicopter.
No, I just get in a cardboard box and I'll sneak right past and I'll never even know I was here.
Brilliant.
So you fight the hind with a Stinger missile. It's a homing aerial missile that it's whatever. So you beat Liquid Snake, and he's monologuing the whole time, talking shit. You blow him up, he crashes. It looks like he's dead. Of course it does. So this is the first time you kill him. FYI, there will be more. Like a lot more.
I gotta give him credit. Like, if that guy would have wore a COVID mask, he might still be in like Metal Gear Solid. Like, is that guy?
Had he social distanced, he would have survived through the rest of the games. Yeah. Like, it's
because that's something like when you play through it and you watch the movie, you're like, I've noticed every time he talks to Snake, he's like 70 feet away. Wait a minute. Like,
the torture room.
Are you sure he wasn't on the other side of some glass or something?
No. He was right up in his face in the torture room.
Oh, that was the first initial infection. Sorry.
That's what it was.
I mean, because he had a bad cold. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
But so the first time you kill Liquid. Now
this is the first time you kill Liquid.
Did he explain? Has he explained to Snake who he is yet?
During this fight, he kind of goes more like he was calling you his brother in the torture room, but you don't really understand the reference. Now he's like, why do you keep calling me that? Because we're the same. And you still don't understand it. He's like, okay, so Big Boss is both of our fathers. Okay, maybe. Whatever. You still don't understand the gist of the situation of why you two are so connected. So you defeat him. He crashes, burns. You say, burn in hell, Liquid. It's a badass little moment. He walks away from the flames, Michael Bay style. Otacon calls, hey, the elevator's working. Great. You go hop on the elevator. all of a sudden it's like, the weight limit sign goes off. Interesting. Otacon calls you. Yeah, I don't know why it would do that. I was going to bring you a stealth camo. Oh shit! How many suits were? Oh no! All the guys that stole the stealth camo were on there, so you got to fight invisible guys now. So you bless them. It's not a big deal. You continue on. This is where you have to fight
right.
snipers.
I remember that one kind of freaked me out. I was like, "Oh shit! You're on the elevator with invisible dudes, and then you got
on an elevator. You're in an elevator shooting at invisible people."
So wait, you mean that he actually did a fight that's harder than the Captain America elevator fight?
Oh, absolutely.
Scene, and pulled it off while people had invisibility stealth. Now, this was different stealth because the other two was from Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. This was Boeing's stealth technology. Okay, so big difference.
True, very true. That's why it was so easy to defeat them. So
unfortunately, you know that some version of some military technology I'm talking about, that's 100% true. Well, no. This was Boeing's horrible, man-made horror beyond your comprehension. Not the other ones.
Right. So you get through this and you enter a snowfield. And as you enter the snowfield, you get shot. You get knocked on your ass. And something that always bothered me, after he gets knocked on his ass, he gets back up, he gets on a knee, and he calls on the codec.
Don't go for
and he
cover.
just sits there.
Yeah,
don't go for cover. He's sitting in sniper scope, like the sniper scope sees Snake, and he just sits there. What to do? Like, okay, that's one. They probably should have left this little scene on the cutting room floor. He calls on the codec. Oh shit, he's talking to Otacon. It's got to be Sniper Wolf. Why are you so excited? Well, don't hurt her. I love her. Blah blah blah. Whatever. So now you've got to decide. And the first few times I played the game, I did the stupid thing, and that's having another sniper battle with the expert sniper, and it's incredibly hard because you're shooting into the darkness in a snow blizzard. Okay? Good luck with this. Or you still got that Nikita, comes in super handy here. You just shoot it across the snowfield and blow that bitch to smithereens. I mean, she can't hide behind a tree from a fucking remote control missile, guys.
There is you still have that missile launcher?
Yeah, turns out it's tactical. Like, super handy in this situation.
He's like,
I don't feel like sniping with
my rifle. Holy sees a missile coming in,
I don't
it's
feel
hot
like
shot
sniper fighting
Dukes.
the sniper. I'd rather shoot her with a missile.
Yeah, that's a hot shots part Dukes.
Yeah,
solution. No, just fire.
That's
off
Indiana Jones shooting the swordsman.
Yep. Yeah, just bang.
It's awesome. But no, this was one of the. It's a really intense fight. Actually, this is way better than the first Sniper Wolf fight, especially if you go the hard route and snipe with her. It's way more intense. It feels like it's a lot more. There's a lot more gravity to it.
That the sniper battles in the Metal Gear Solid series has always been spectacular. Whether it be this one, whether it be the end in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Even MGS2, the sniper battles it wasn't as intense, but the gameplay was really solid of it.
Yeah, now the best one, we won't get to the whole game, but Metal Gear Solid 4's Sniper Wolf battle, the terrain was just perfect. You had weather you had to deal with. There was snow. There was you had real world issues that you had to contend with, while you had this sniper battle where, unfortunately, your opponent most of the time at least had some fuzzy idea where you were.
Yeah.
And so that was always interesting because there was one really tall place you could go there, but she could fire missiles at you. And so it was kind of like a callback, get
flip
you
flop.
back. Yeah, it's oh, okay, but so that first one I remember, you did some of the sniping for a few minutes, just to kind of show, and then you know what, Phil, we're in a bit of a bind here, and I just laughed my ass off, and boom, and then she's just laying there, all 5 pixels of her face. There's a 6th red pixel across the face, and she's laying there like, and then Otacon comes and gets some sympathy, deathbed empathy.
This is what I'm talking about. This was one of the more grounding boss outros, like, because you kill Sniper Wolf here, it's very heartfelt. Like, she's having a send off, like he's having like a real world emotional bonding connection with her here. And I love the dialogue here, and I love the voice acting here. It felt perfect to me. If you watched it, and then with Otacon, he shows up, he's distraught, he's a mess, and he gives her gun.
You're
and
not
then,
even noticing that they're 5 pixel faces. Like, you are
yeah,
now,
no, you're not.
You're invested.
You're invested. Yeah, exactly. The graphics don't matter. You're invested because it's the emotion is there. It all looks and sounds beautiful.
The voice acting was way better than the game deserved, to be frank.
Absolutely,
like,
it was.
The game was great, but the voice acting was like David Hayter, for example.
It's perfect.
He had no idea he was going to get a career-altering role out of this, but
so he's so on point with this, and he always is. But I felt like Sniper Wolf's lines were just perfect for the voice actor. And Otacon, I like him no matter what the situation, because he's always going to be very erratic. But he comes in, Otacon shows up, he's distraught. He brings her gun because she asks for it. She wants to die with it. Her wolf dogs show up and sit there to watch this terrifyingly tragic moment. And Snake blasts her in the face, and she dies. A mercy kill. And then the wolf howls. And it's like, oh my God, that was powerful. If you thought that was awesome, if that scene was just one of the best cut scenes in the game, never, ever, 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 ever watch the remake, the Twin Snakes version of this, because it is such an ungodly mess of fucking embarrassment. It's so bad. The wolves are over the... It's so bad. The wolves are like picking her up and shit, like moving her corpse. Fucking Otacon, when he's bringing the gun to her, trips and falls and does a fucking Dick Van Dyke roll. Like, it's just horror. And the voice actor for Sniper Wolf was not on point in her redubbing of the lines. Did not have the same emotion. The lighting and the whole haunting aspect of it's gone because the music's different. It's just so bad in comparison. It's not even fucking remotely close. It just ruins the entire scene because it's one of the best scenes in the series.
They tried to add shtick to that.
Yeah, and it was completely unnecessary. That's what they did with that whole game, though. So this was I do recall really seeing
the scene of like one of the wolves like gets the snout
under her
Sniper Wolf,
yes,
and then just like carries her off into the woods or something.
It's
and
so stupid.
No,
so bad.
But
this was perfect though.
With Metal Gear Solid, yes, it was done just right amount, and there was The Best Is Yet to Come, I believe, was playing in the background.
No, I think this was,
or was it? Silent
No, it wasn't silent, but it was really minuscule. The music was just haunting enough.
Yep, which you didn't need it to be blaring. You just needed it in the background, because Best Is Yet to Come is one of those like songs I don't know what they're saying and I don't really care.
Exactly. We'll get to that. We're getting down towards the end. There's still a lot there, but we're getting there. I'm going to blast through some of this, but this is the moment. Like, it's such a powerful scene. Otacon and Snake have this is the best back and forth in the whole game. And Otacon's asking him, what are we fighting for? What is this all for? Are we going to survive this? And what was this all for? And he's like, if we make it through this, I'll tell you. It's a really powerful moment. And then you search the area quick. You go into a door. There's no music. You turn a corner. You go in. It fades to black. It says insert disc 2. Now you put in disc 2. You're like, holy shit. That was big. Part 2 of the game. Well, really part 3 or 4-ish. So you put the other disc in. It fades in. It's a lot more intense, the music. It's kind of pounding. Boom, 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 boom. Like, you can feel the energy building up. And you enter a room and there's like lava and shit happening. There's not as many guards, but you've got to like tiptoe across a bridge where there's lava beneath you. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
You get out of there, and it's more snow. All right, but you're in a building, so whatever. This is kind of weird. And that's when you find Vulcan Raven. Remember him from the tank? Here he
Mhm.
is in all his gigantic barrel Gatling gun glory. He has a really badass monologue. He's talking about doing some Alaskan fucking tough man competition where you pull each other's ears off and shit. So you battle him to the death. Again, you can try to use conventional weaponry and you will fail. Or you can use your C4 and wait till he turns a corner because it's like a maze. You're trying to avoid getting shot by him. Use your fucking explosives to like pop off as he turns a corner, or you run around behind him and pop him with the Stinger missile. You know, the thing you use to take down the helicopter? Yeah, this barely phases him, but it works. So you finally beat his ass.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Like, at one point, we were like, dude, like 6 of these took down the helicopter. And like, it's taking like 8 to just bring down this rather large Alaskan.
Yeah.
What are they like, man? Bear meat apparently does something for you up there.
But this is one of those fights. Like I love all the boss fights in this game. They're all so good. This one's really good. They're all different and unique, and this is no exception. And this one's a little bit longer. So you finally endure this. You beat him, and he starts just spilling the tea. Right? He's like, "Oh, I'm very proud of you." Well, kind of, but yeah, you're a strong warrior, and I'm gonna give you a hint. The man that you tried to save was not Donald Anderson. That was actually Decoy Octopus, a member of Foxhound. And Snake's like, why would we go through all that trouble just to have that happen? That's the end of my riddle. You must go on and face Liquid, for I will be watching you, Snake, as the crows eat my body. And then the crows fly in and eat him alive as he's dying, and you walk off, and things are what they are.
Another Michael Bay walk off, but with crows instead of explosions.
So, mind you, all this time, I glossed over a couple of the key plot points. You've been distrusting Campbell because he hasn't told you everything. You find out about Metal Gear after you get tortured. You know, they're spilling tea because they want information from you. And Campbell knew about it, but he didn't tell you, and you're pissed off at him. Well, fuck you, but you're still my, support, so I have to talk to you. Naomi is distraught at some point. Well, when you find out that the cyborg ninja is your old comrade Gray Fox, Naomi is like, what are you talking about? And Campbell's like, yep, no, that he must have survived. And she's like, well, no, actually, this is what happened. And she knows all about this. You're like, well, what the fuck? Why does she know about this? Well, he was dead because Snake killed him. Well, they reanimated him and they fit him with a bunch of cybernetics. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense.
What? You mean you didn't inform the man who killed him? Like, yeah, Snake, your outrage about like, why didn't you tell me? Well,
yeah,
that would be kind of obvious, wouldn't it?
So yeah, as you're going further and further underground, you're riding this really long, slow, giant elevator, and you get attacked again. It's a whole thing. So you fight them off. And then, oh boy. You get to a spot with there's like 100 surveillance camera gun turrets. You pop off your chaff grenades, and you can neutralize those, and you can shoot them with a sting or whatever. You get past them, and you run down this hallway, and that's when you see it. You finally lay eyes on Metal Gear. It's there. It's in this giant hangar, and there it is, standing in all its glory. It's this giant behemoth of a walking mobile battle tank. And you don't really... He takes it all in. He's like, oh my God. And he's talking to people on the codec, like, holy shit, here it is again. So he makes his way. He's got to climb this thing and avoid guards. And he goes, because at this point, he still doesn't know how to stop the nuclear attack because they've threatened to launch the nukes. You get across the thing, you go down a little thing, and you come up on there's an office. As he sneaks up there, Liquid Snake and Revolver Ocelot, the only two left to Foxhound at this point, are standing in there. And they're having a discussion. And as you're listening and eavesdropping, Otacon calls you. Okay, I figured it out. One of the cards that Baker gave you, that's how you actually stop the attack. He's like, but I've only got one. It takes 3. Well, that's the thing. You've already got all 3. So first, there's 3 computers. You got to put it in the first one, as is. Then you take it out, and you go and you make the key really cold. And then you put it in. And then you take it out. And then you go make the key really hot. And then you come back, and you put it again, and they'll stop it. Okay. All of a sudden, Ocelot sees you, shoots the card out of your hand, like movie style. It falls down the drainage ditch. You've got to go all the way back down, crawl around in the sludge, find the key. In some instances, a fucking rat will eat it, and you have to shoot a rat to get the key back. So then you got to climb back all the way up, put the key in. They're gone now. Of course they are. They left as soon as you did. You put the key in. Okay, now I've got to make the key cold. So you go back to the Vulcan Raven fight, and you stand there and you wait for the key to get cold. Go back, climb all the way up, put the key in. Number 2 done. Climb all the way back down. Go through that cold area again. Go all the way back to the first spot when you put in disc 2, where the lava is, and you stand there and you wait for it to get hot. On your way back, mind you, all this time, you found out that Naomi has actually been a double agent. She's still the medical doctor for Foxhound. She's feeding them information about what you're doing.
Wait. Folks at home, before you can get any more of this podcast, you must now insert disc 2.
We'll wait. Okay. So, yeah. Now that you've done that. So, as you and Roy Campbell and for whatever reason, your buddy Master Miller are all having this private conversation about Naomi. So they tell you, well, we've placed her under arrest. She can't be involved in the mission anymore because she's obviously a threat. So
thank God you told Master Miller about this.
Yeah, he's been your rock. He's your rock through this thing. And you have been talking to him a lot. So you find out she's a spy, so they're torturing her, trying to get information out of her.
Is there anything else? I mean, is there anything else, Snake? So now they're torturing Naomi. Yep.
And on the way back with the hotkey for the third one to stop the launch, she calls you out of nowhere. You're like, but I thought you were being tortured. No, it's okay. I stole a phone or whatever, and now we're talking. It's fine. And they have a long conversation. What do they have a conversation about? Well, here's what it is. You find out from Naomi that Gray Fox, the cyborg ninja, your old buddy that you killed, they reanimated, turned into a psychopath ninja. That's her brother, and she's pissed off at you.
Okay.
So, out of nowhere. This is about the time you find out.
So I take it that whole body cavity search thing, that's off?
Yeah, it's probably off. She's probably not giving you that strip search.
That's probably what Snake's thinking. Like, so the strip search is off? Oh,
damn, I guess I'm not going to get that full body cavity search now, am I?
I'm kind of shocked that wasn't actual dialogue.
I am too, actually.
Scene.
You're right.
But that was another emotional scene where, again, it's someone dealing with loss in a way that they seek revenge. So it's very understandable.
Well, that's just it. It's a huge thing of revenge, because this is where you find out. Liquid's talked about it a couple times. You don't really know anything about it, but there's something called Fox Die that the bad guys keep talking about. You don't know what it is. Well, Naomi tells you all about it here. What it is it, and this is what Baker was kind of alluding to before he died, when he said they're using you. Naomi infected you with the nanomachines before you were sent out. She infected you with something called Fox Die. And essentially what it is, it's a super virus that targets specific sets of DNA and genes to kill specific targets. So essentially, once you come into contact with someone, you are a assassin via proxy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why your hostages are dying. And had the boss fights, had they survived the encounters with you, well, they were dead anyway because you've infected them by coming into contact with them. So, on top of the demands that the terrorists were already asking, which was, by the way, like millions of dollars, leave us the fuck alone. And they wanted the corpse of the original soldier, Big Boss, who was the original leader of Foxhound, right? Well, why would they want that? You're going to find out. So, the funny thing about Big Boss is, but you find out in the NES games, if you're familiar with that, and Snake talks about this, is Big Boss was actually Solid Snake's father. At least that's what he tells it. So there's a connection there, and whether it be through the Foxhound Commando unit or their father-son relationship, Liquid Snake has this obsession with Big Boss, and he wants the corpse, but you don't know why. So Naomi's talking about that. You're infected. They find out that she's talking to you. They recapture her. He's pissed at Campbell for taking her again. Let me talk to her. Nope, you've got a mission. Fulfill it. So he takes the hotkey back up to the top of the Metal Gear, gets in the control room, puts it in. Computer says, thank you. Nuclear launch activated. What?
That I remember at that point, it's like, oh motherfucker, they made you go through that whole thing
All
just
that.
for you to be the guy. Because like, there's a lot of times in this video game where the people you think are the heroes sometimes aren't,
The pieces of shit, yeah.
and sometimes the people that you think are the villains sometimes aren't. But we'll get to that in another game. But
Yeah. This is where all the tea gets spilled, Phil. All the tea.
all of it. But so then, at this point, isn't this where Liquid Snake just
so this is where
like
it's
and now this will be the moment to buy a syndrome.
This is beautiful. So as soon as you activate the nuclear launch, Master Miller calls you. And he says, Thank you, God. Snake.
Oh man. Master Miller, we're in a really rough bind here, man. I mean, I
What's going on?
I accidentally activated the nuclear weapons, Master Miller. What do I do?
You die! Turns out, the guy you've been talking to on your codec, Master Miller, your old comrade. Well, it wasn't your old comrade at all. Turns out he's been dead for days. You've actually been talking to Liquid Snake in disguise.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I couldn't tell. I mean, it was the same guy with a slightly different accent the whole time.
And glasses.
Deceived. I am flummoxed. Oh, and he had his hair in a ponytail.
He had his hair in a ponytail and he had glasses on. Which, Phil, I must remind you at this point that that's ridiculous that he had his hair back and his glasses on because Snake couldn't see him.
In the codex.
He was only talking to him through audio.
The faces are for our benefit at home.
Yeah, it's for our benefit, but it makes it so ridiculous. He put his hair in a ponytail.
If you can't hear, I'm brooding my hair down, Snake. But yeah.
It always bothered me. I'm like, but who is that for? I guess it was for me? Thanks.
Yep. But so
he even makes mention of it because you run out of the room and there's Liquid standing next to Metal Gear. And he goes, Hey, Snake, did you like my sunglasses? He didn't know you were wearing sunglasses. He couldn't see you. Like, he couldn't see you, though.
But, Tony, Snake trusted that they were there. Okay.
Well, that's true. He's familiar with and you find out in later games, much later games, that Miller was a sunglass wearing dude. So there you go. So you have a monologue with the snakes, and turns out, yes, this is where he spills all the tea. They're brothers. They are brothers. They're not normal brothers. They're brothers bonded by cussed genes. Turns out they are clones of Big Boss. Big Boss is their father by proxy because they are just essentially clones of Big Boss. They took the DNA of Big Boss, used a surrogate, and they were born. So they're one and the same. They are identical on the genetic level.
Now, now that we finally touched on this, there's something I want to talk about, which the Metal Gear Solid series, without ever directly addressing it, absolutely touched on. Like, they never directly said this, but they always, it was the theme of all 4 video games. And it's the idea of, does a clone have a soul?
Mm.
That was, in my opinion, the main theme that tied all 4 of them together. You know, Snake is a clone.
Right.
And the idea is, throughout this whole time, and that there was some people like in Little Treehouse of Horrors, Lisa mentioned that, you know, some theologians, Bart, say that that some folks aren't born with a soul, but they earn one. And so it kind of made me think of that moment from Little Tree Shop of Horrors, but also, like, yeah, it really makes you wonder and makes you think, like, does a clone have a soul? Like, in the same way that you and I do. And
Right.
that it was such a fascinating,
because you're not an individual, you're a copy.
Yeah. And how much are you? You
Right.
know, and so it's like the idea of you know, predestination and determinism, like, to an extreme level, because, like, it's written in my genes, I'm supposed to be somebody else.
Well, this,
You know?
this is that dialogue where Liquid really, like, this is what made him so iconic in terms of characters in this series. Like, you only had him in this game technically, and he's one of the favorite characters of the series. And Hideo Kojima's on record of saying he wishes he had not killed him off, because he would have been so much better had he survived this game. But I digress. You get so much dialogue here, but he barely scratches the surface. He gets in the cockpit of the Metal Gear, and now you have to fight Metal Gear, which is kind of the core of the entire series. You're going to fight a giant robot monster, okay? And this is that moment. And your clone double is the pilot. So you've got to battle it with chaff grenades to throw off the sonar so you can run around and avoid getting hit by the laser and the railgun and the missiles, blah, blah, blah. This thing's packed to the gill with artillery. And you've got your trusty old Stinger missile that you took down the hind with. So you beat it up as best you can. You're barely hanging on. You can kind of collect ammo. You can kind of collect rations if you're lucky. So you survive this thing. And then out of all of nowhere, here comes a cutscene, and the cyborg ninja comes in to save the day. He's got this, like, hand cannon laser gun, no sword this time, and he's fighting off Metal Gear. You guys have a quick dialogue, and he says, "Look, your sister's just pissed off and wants to, blow up the world for you. I'm not even her true brother. I found her because I killed her parents. Tell her I'm sorry." And then he goes and fights Metal Gear single-handedly, breaks part of it off to where it can't even function now, and Liquid's got to open the cockpit. Well, he throws the laser, cuts the arm off of Gray Fox, and pins him against the wall. He blasts him a few more times, beats the piss out of the machine. He falls in a hump. Or no, excuse me. He's got him. Liquid has him pinned against the wall. And he's saying, "Now, blow him up. Use the stinger. Blow us both up. Kill us both." "I can't do it. I can't kill you again. I can't do it." So he falls to the ground, and he gets stomped on. And as he's getting stomped on, he says, "I'm sorry. Tell Naomi." Blah, blah, blah. And then he gets crushed to death. It's a powerful moment. Huge. But now the cockpit's open, so you can start blasting the Stinger missiles at the cockpit. You blast Liquid with that. It starts exploding. You've killed him again. Congratulations. Killed Liquid for the second time, Phil. Feels good, right? Now to know that that's over with. It's all over.
Now that Liquid's he's done, it's all completed, and now we can move on to the hero's journey, where he finally completes it. Oh, wait, what?
You can stop right there, Phil. I'm going to stop you right there. Sorry, that's not what happens at all.
So what does happen, Tony?
Yeah, what does happen? So even though you just single-handedly defeated a giant robot monster,
You
killed
literally
Liquid
slayed a steel dragon.
Yeah, you slayed the steel dragon, killed Liquid for a second time. You wake up and you're on top of Metal Gear. Who's there? Well, Liquid Snake, of course.
Brother!
He's perfectly fine. And you're tied up. You're sitting
Ready
there.
for another monologue?
Yep, you're sitting. Yo, and this is the one. This is the monologue. This one is what really sets the tone for the entire series, in my opinion. Is this monologue right here? It's what gets so deep that you're like, okay, everything's been pretty deep and convoluted to this point, but like this really set the tone. On your next few playthroughs, you're looking forward to this because it really just drives home the point that attention to detail, intricacies, it's deep. He gets like to a molecular level, an atomic level in detail about genetics and bioengineering, and accuses Snake of being a mass murderer because you enjoy killing. You killed all of my comrades and all the soldiers you've killed. You loved it. I saw the face you made when you did it. We're the same. We're clones. We're not even our own people. And he starts talking about how they were conceived, how they were created. They took the DNA from Big Boss and they impregnated a surrogate and they killed 4 of the 6 children to make those 2 much better, selective breeding on top of everything. And les enfants terribles, the terrible children. One of them got all the recessive genes, and one of them got all the good shit. Solid Snake was the one that got all the good shit, but Liquid was the one that got all the bad shit. But because he did,
Arnold
Big Boss,
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in Twins.
Essentially, exactly. But since Liquid got all the bad shit, he's the one that Big Boss apparently took under his wing. That's why he's got this strange love for him. And that's what Solid Snake says to him. No, I hate him. I hate him so much. I'm going to destroy his legacy. That's why I need his DNA to fix all of the imperfections. But also, it must contain the cure to Fox die. So he explains, you came into contact with all of us in the torture room and through your varying encounters with us. I need to know how to... I need the vaccine information to cure all the soldiers, because technically they're our brothers too, because they share a similar cell count with the DNA of Big Boss as you and I do. So he's got to save all of them with this DNA. He's got to save himself, make a vaccine. It's deep on a biological level, and it's very interesting.
And he's treating them like they're his family in a way.
Yeah, very much so.
Because it's the idea of like, what would a clone consider family?
Exactly.
Would it be the same that you and I would? And so that kind of keeps going in with that theme I was talking about earlier. But yeah, so Liquid, once you realize it, like, here's the thing: the best villains are ones that, in their own minds, their actions are justified.
Absolutely.
And he's a great example.
Yeah, you get 100% of that here. He goes into great detail. And he says, look, the White House, the Pentagon, they know that I've lost my capabilities of doing a nuclear strike. So they've called in an air raid. They're going to kill us all. Oh, well, shit. So not only are we all infected with this thing that's going to kill us all, there's also an air raid strike coming. So what are we doing here? That's when Liquid says, well, that gives us just enough time to have one more final battle. Because he's got a bomb. For no reason, just right there, and he's going to blow it off to save the government the trouble, I guess. He's also got Meryl still. She's alive. She's right there. She's tied up. Meryl. She's unconscious, but she's right there. So all of a sudden you get a codec call from somebody, and it turns out it's the Secretary of Defense.
It's like, wait, dude, what are you doing on the line?
Yeah.
Would you mind just staying there and let the airstrike kill all of you, please?
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, yep, nope, we're going to explain this away and it'll be fine and nobody will know any the wiser. You're all an embarrassment. Fuck you all. We're going to destroy you. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Thanks. That's pretty much what that boils
down. So if you would just be so kind as to stay right where you are, that'd be very nice.
The Secretary of Defense. Fuck you all. You're dead. Okay. So... a Liquid unties Solid, and they're about to have
Solidus administration.
So they're about to. So then you've got a box Liquid Snake on the top of Metal Gear, as the countdown timer to an explosion commences. Like it's a great fight. And the mechanics, you have no items, you have no weapons.
It's
You've
hand to
been
hand.
stripped of all that. It's just hand-to-hand combat. And it's intense, and he's a bull. And you finally beat him, and you knock him off the side of Metal Gear. Thank God. You've killed him for a third time now, Phil.
Okay.
A third time.
Finally.
He's dead.
Finally. He's
My
dead.
God,
He's
finally.
gone.
So you run over, and you untie Meryl. This harkens back to the torture chamber now. Did you endure the torture, or did you hit select and give up? Because if you gave up, Meryl's dead.
Oh, balls.
End of story. She's dead. If you hit select and gave in to the torture because you didn't want to do it, he's dead. She doesn't wake up. And you find out from a very distraught Roy Campbell, well, it turns out she wasn't my niece. I had an affair with her mother, and she's actually my daughter, but she's dead now.
Ouch.
So yeah, there's that. But if you did endure the torture, she wakes up. She's groggy, but she's alive.
Dang.
So this
Hideo
is what I'm
knows how to
talking about.
bring
Like,
the stakes.
oh yeah, like there's so many different ways to play the game. You can have different interactions with the bosses. You get multiple endings. There's incentive here. There's replayability. And it's exactly why I played it so many times, because you could get a different outcome. You could have a different experience. You could blast through it. You could take your time. It's in depth without being open world. That's what was so fascinating about it at the time. But I digress. He wakes up. You two have got to escape now. There's got to be a way out, even though the bombs are coming. So you and her, you get off the Metal Gear. You run out the hangar, and there's a Jeep.
Oh,
you get on the there's a Jeep.
Right.
You get on the Jeep. You're gonna get
see,
out, right?
I remember this part. So you're going down on the Jeep, having defeated the villain. Okay,
Right.
He's now dead and gone.
Yeah.
You are now
There's
going.
There's just a handful of soldiers you've got to blast.
Yeah, you got to get through them, and then you're just riding along on that Jeep, having defeated the villain, and it's just like basically you're just heading for the light. Everything's good. Everything's dandy. You don't have to worry about.
You've already killed Liquid Snake 3 times, but guess what, Phil? Wait, there's
more. Yeah.
Here comes Liquid Snake on a Jeep.
And he's blasting at you for some reason.
He's steering and driving and holding a FAMAS and shooting at you. Like,
yeah,
this motherfucker don't quit.
Yeah, this guy does not skip arm day. I gotta say, but you would think it would just be like, all right, Snake, let's settle this outside the tunnel. But no, he's determined to.
He's shooting at you and swerving at you and hitting you with the car, and you're blasting him with a machine gun. He's got no health bar at this point because why bother? You do. He's
already lost that thing 3 times. Okay.
Here you go. So all of a sudden you're coming to the end of the tunnel. Meryl's like, there it is. I see the light. And he pulls in front of you and you all crash.
Yep. That's Liquid.
You both turn over. Meryl's like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. Are you? Yeah. Where's Liquid? Snake goes, Liquid's dead. So you've killed him for a 4th time, Phil.
4 times.
4th time.
You've killed this man 4 times, okay?
And then literally
calling this guy Fluffy because he's got as many lives as a cat.
Seconds later, you hear Snake. Fuck. Really? He's still alive. And here he comes with the fucking machine gun still in tow. And you're trapped under the Jeep for some reason. And he picks the gun up and he aims it at you. And he's about to shoot you in the head. And all of a sudden he goes, oh, 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 oh. And like shit gets wacky. You can see him. He's clutching his chest. He's saying, Fox! Die! And then Solid goes, die. And he collapses and has a heart attack. Liquid has a fucking heart attack, just like the Armstead president and Donald Anderson did. Fox kills him. And he officially dies for a 5th time.
The 6th. The 5th time was at the crash.
No, I thought that was 4. No,
4 was at the bottom. No, all right, let's see. You killed him on the
in the
the
helicopter,
helicopter,
in the Metal
then
Gear.
in the Metal Gear,
Yep.
then
Knocked him off of the Metal Gear
on
was
top of the
3.
Metal Gear,
Yep.
the truck was
The truck, yep, the truck would have been 4.
4, and then yes,
Yeah, so this would be 5.
I'm thinking we missed one. I'm thinking we
It's
missed one of the killings. The times
well,
we killed
you
him.
probably tried to feed him a strawberry. He didn't chew his food very
Yeah.
well. He
Oh
choked, but he
no.
somehow
Yeah,
lived.
like, but yeah, I'm feeling we missed one. But anywhere from 5 to 6 times you had to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And
But you don't realize it at this point, but you've played the last bit of the game that you were going to play. Okay? Like, your gameplay is done at this
yeah,
point.
you just as well set the
But
controller
you don't
down.
know that. You're still sitting there
Enjoy
holding the controller.
the hour and a half of movie you
Yeah,
still have to
just
watch.
Put the controller down, okay? You don't need to hold it at this point. Your hands are cramped. Put them down. Just set it as far away from you as you can. You might bump it. You're not going to want
You
to miss
don't
any
need
of
it.
this.
Yeah, and yeah, because yeah, at this point you got some crazy shit to watch, where you find out the highest levels of government.
So yeah, it turns out the
involved in
Secretary
this.
of Defense was a dick. The president didn't like what he was doing. He called off the airstrike. Campbell helped. He was reprimanded, but it's fine. He's like, hey, look, there's a snowmobile. You guys can get away. You did a great job. Thanks, Snake. We're still friends, even after I lied to you for the last fucking 12 hours and didn't tell you anything. And it's all good. I'll come pay a visit, Roy.
Yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
all good. You know, it's all a day's work in the military.
So and they're like, no, we'll take care of Otacon. We'll get him picked up. It's all good. And then he's like, here, talk to Naomi. She wants to talk with you. And he's like, well, your brother, he saved the world. He wanted me to tell you that he murdered your parents in cold blood. No, he doesn't say that. He's like, he saved the world. It was all him.
Yeah, Snake's gonna be a little selfless in that moment, but yeah, he kind of just like, and you know what, Naomi? Well, man, I'm gonna turn the knife a little bit.
Fuck you for poisoning me, bitch.
So could have gone that.
Yeah. So he tries to ask her. He's like, look, you clearly designed this to kill me too. So when am I gonna die? Well, just live, Snake. It'll be fine.
Just live.
What, bitch? That's not an answer.
If you could go sneeze on a few more people I don't like, that'd be really cool, Snake, actually. Because that was like, so wait, now he's a biological weapon? Shouldn't he be in quarantine?
Right.
Like,
no, it only targets specific people that it was coded to target, so it's fine.
But yeah, Tony, I want you to hold that thought for Metal Gear Solid 4.
Look, you don't know all that yet, though.
Okay.
Anyway.
But yeah, I just want you to hold that thought. But so, Tony, at the end of this game.
Well, we're not done yet. You get done talking to Naomi, then you have a bunch of fucking shit. You walk down the side of the mountain, you find the snowmobile. You and Meryl have this lovey-dovey dialogue and cutscenes, and there's caribou, and you ride off into the distance about, oh, goodness, there's a whole life ahead of us, blah, blah, blah. It's a little campy, but it's a feel-good movement after all this shit you just went through. And then the credits start to roll. And everything you just experienced, I've never seen, and in the rest of the series, it's never come so full circle, so perfectly, because the story is incredible. It's so in-depth, it's so intricate. And then they managed to hit the credits with one of the greatest pieces of fucking music I've ever heard in my life. The best, you've mentioned it already, but the best is yet to come. Written and produced by Rika Muranaka, featuring Irish lyrics sung by Iofi Ni Ferna. Oh, good God. Fearraigh. Try to pronounce that. I dare you.
The language is Gaelic, which is fascinating to listen to. It's like, if you have Irish relatives, this is the language they were talking in about 900 years ago. So
yeah, as the credits are rolling, it's black credits, white text, and this hauntingly beautiful song is playing. The instrumentals are just touching. The vocals are deep and emotional, and you have no idea what they're saying. but it's powerful. It's exactly like the Shawshank Redemption. I don't know what she was singing, and I don't really care.
Exactly.
Because we all stood there and just enjoyed that moment for what it was, and whatever Morgan Freeman says. But it's
Yes.
exactly that.
I'm with you. I've never looked up what the lyrics actually mean.
I don't want to know. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because you feel the emotion no matter what, and it plays throughout the entire credits, and then you get another quick little something from Naomi with some Alaskan dog sleds, and then it shows you your statistics from your gameplay, how long it took you, how many saves, how many kills, how many alerts, and you save your game. It's key to save your game at this point, because depending on the ending that you gave, or that you got, the gameplay that you got, you'll get a special item. Now you're either going to get the bandana or the stealth gear. I think if you if you save Meryl and you get the Meryl ending, you will get the bandana, which gives you infinite ammo when you have it equipped on your second playthrough. If you succumb to the torture and Meryl dies, that entire ending sequence with Meryl, Otacon replaces her, and you ride off with him.
No,
and
great.
It's not as impactful.
Yeah.
Put it that way. But you get the stealth camo on your next playthrough. But if you go through that, they said you have to go through the entire second playthrough with the special item and not use it. I think you can use it, but they say not to use it. And the third playthrough, then you'll have both. You have to do the other ending then. You'll have both special items. Plus, Snake will be in a tuxedo, and the Cyborg Ninja's red-blue color palette will be swapped. So there'll be blue where there's red and red where there's blue.
Oh, I mean, that makes it worth it.
Well, I've done it several fucking times.
Yeah, you've
and there's
done
another way. There's another way of doing it where Meryl will actually be wearing Snake's sneaking suit too. So there's other shit. Like there's so much replayability, and there's such an intricate story that I tried to sum up the best I could, and I didn't. That you have to replay it a few times to like have the entire lore and backstory and intricacies ingrained in your thought process to play the rest of the games, so you fully get engulfed in the rest of them and appreciate them for the huge world and landscape and story that they're trying to tell. And there's incentive to do it because your gameplay will be different, and you can use different items and weapons and methods of defeating the enemies. So there's different ways of playing. So it was such a landmark achievement because it's a 2-disc set with bad graphics, but incredible story, incredible voice acting, so many different ways of playing, different endings, interactivity. It's just the perfect encapsulation of limited power on the PlayStation. And it was a PlayStation exclusive that really was such a home run at the time. And it was such an incredible game for a system that was about to be phased out in favor of the PlayStation 2. So the fact that it was as popular as it was upon release and got such great reviews on the heels of a new gen system, it speaks volumes to what it was and its mythos.
One of the big selling points to me for why I went PlayStation 3 was it was going to have Metal Gear Solid 4. That was a huge sales point for me. And so like, yeah, the Metal Gear game, and I think this will be a good, like, kind of encapsulate everything we've talked about, is it was very much one of the major players in the console wars.
Yeah.
In the early days. Eventually Metal Gear made its way over to Xbox.
But it wasn't until
I think it was
5.
I think they eventually adapted 4 to be on Xbox. But
I don't know that they ever got 4, because actually,
maybe I'm wrong,
the way I understand it, if you have a copy of Metal Gear Solid 4, cherish that, because it's never been remastered. There's never been an HD master collection of it.
They don't
like one of the only ways to play that is if you have the disc.
And I do. That's one of the.
As do I.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's an amazing playability. In my opinion, like to me, the perfect video game would be Metal Gear Solid 1, that they integrated the graphics and controls of Metal Gear Solid 4. They just built Metal Gear Solid
Right.
1 on a Metal Gear Solid 4 engine. Okay, that would just be, nope, I'll just play that from now on. I'm good.
For me, I just want the graphics because, like I said, I think it's...
Well, also like the way Snake can move and like...
Sure, yeah, the movement's fine, but like once you remove the third-person view that one has, it makes the game too easy. It takes away a lot of the drama of the boss fights.
True. But, you know,
right, well, just think about all the boss fights, like with the Vulcan Raven fight with the tank where you're overhang. If you could like first person see where to throw the grenade, it takes away from that urgency. Or the Revolver Ocelot fight where you have to follow him around. If you're following him around in first person, it takes away from it. And that was the biggest gripe on the Twin Snake remake. And like I already mentioned, it's so over the top, over campy. They tried to make Snake Neo of the Matrix. The lines aren't delivered with the same levity. It looks better. It does, because the graphics are better, but that's the only reason to play that game. And I was gonna get it for that reason. I was gonna buy a GameCube for that game, and I never did, and I'm glad I didn't, knowing now what I know.
I had a GameCube and it was fun, but it was kind of limited because they purposely gave you small discs just because it'd be harder to pirate.
Yep.
And so they literally limited the power of their system. But T, before we go here, is there any last thoughts? Because we're going to touch on every Metal Gear Solid game, but Metal Gear Solid 1, any final thoughts on this momentous game before we call it an evening, sir?
If you had to pick your least favorite moment from the game and your most favorite, what would they be?
Okay. My least favorite moment of the game was the back and forth with the hot and cold cards. Okay, like that just
such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was just like, like after all this, we now have to go through this little pedantic fetch quest. Okay, like in Skyrim, they're called fetch quests. All right, go fetch the thing. Okay, and it's like, oh, hello, Dragonborn. I need you to go to Hill Yonder and fetch the book of Mama. And so, yeah, it was basically a fetch quest. And so that I've never liked that. And again, like it's cheating, but favorite moment is the Psycho Mantis battle.
Sure.
Okay, like it's like I said, you touched on some really emotional moments, but the Psycho Mantis was just like, it was. Okay, it broke the fourth wall in a way the Joker wish he could in comic. Okay, like the Joker wishes that in any medium it was in, that the Joker could break the fourth wall the way Psycho Mantis did in the 15 minutes he had. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
So it was the best breaking of the fourth wall any character in video games has ever done. So to me, that one moment carried the franchise to at least 3 more games.
Sure. No, I get it.
Now, how about you? Least favorite?
I'd have to say my least favorite, like I already expressed my disdain for the mine detector and the fact that you can just pick them up by crawling. I hated the fact that Liquid was like bragging about his amazing disguise, even though Snake never saw the disguise. Like, and I'm not going to gripe about the, Campbell or whoever telling you press this button to do this, because it didn't really take you out of the game, or when you're getting sucked into a movie and you take that and you translate it onto a game, like if they're, press this to do this. Sometimes it would, but sometimes it wouldn't. Like, and the fourth wall breaks with Psycho Mantis totally would not take you out. It sucked you in more, because now you felt from the digital thing you're playing to you here in the real life are actually interacting on some degree. So that didn't take me. But there were a few minuscule parts where I'm like, okay, that sucked me out. And yeah, it's hard not to look at the graphics now, but they made shitty graphics emote. So I can't gripe about that too much. I think if I'm going to gripe about anything, I'd say some of the mechanics are pretty clunky in terms of like the close quarters combat. There's
don't age
really
well.
not any, and they weren't calling it that at this point yet anyway. But some of the up close fighting is a little clunky and does not translate well, even into the second game. So they did manage to fix that a bit. But I liked the third person style that this game held on to. So very minuscule things I'm going to complain about. I'm torn between the Psycho Manus fight and the Sniper Wolf, the conclusion on the second battle, because it was so powerful, and a close third, if the first two are a tie, would be all the interaction with Liquid at the end, because I every time I listen to it, it always feels like I'm picking up on something I may have missed that first time, or I'm reminded of something I didn't quite catch the first time, and it all comes off so. They were so detail oriented on how they accessed their information, recorded it, and implemented it. Like, you had to have some highly intelligent people, at least on retainer, to fill in some gaps for the story that they were trying to tell. So you get history, you get science, like it's across the board one of those highly intelligent games that me at 12 wasn't grasping, but I'm like, wow, this is like blowing my mind a little bit, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, we were both aware, like, we're intaking something that's telling us something that's a little more than maybe we're even supposed to receive.
Oh yeah, it's far too advanced for us to grasp.
And that's why it was always worth coming back to. But it was sort of this was the one that set it off, because there was Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2. Nobody's like, no, none of you have played those games. None of you have played them. Knock it off. No. Okay. Don't tell us you have. Okay. Because nobody did. Not even Hideo Kojima played them. Okay. Nobody played them. Okay. Metal Gear Solid, though, this put it on the map and led to so much more. But like I said, this game started the trend and started the ball rolling here of all these different themes, because it talks about nuclear proliferation, the ethics of cloning. Does a clone have a soul? The ethics of what, just war. What should somebody in the command chain actually communicate to their
hereditary bioengineering, genetics, I mean, just biology, tenfold. Take what you know and just throw it against the window, because shit, these people have got it like down. I don't know who they've got on retainer, but my God, they've got to have university professors at the ready.
Hideo's got some very interesting consultants. I'll put it that
for sure.
way. But now, T, anything else you want to tell the folks at home?
No, go ahead and wrap it up.
Folks, as I'm known to say around here...
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah?
Because there's a phone call that had to happen at the end.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm getting a Codex call.
Yep.
A Codex call. Sorry.
After all those credits are over, folks, there's still more.
Tony, it's Master Miller.
No, it's not Master Miller. No, stop it.
He wants to know your location. That's all.
Stop it, Phil.
Tony. Master Miller needs to know your location. What's the? Come on.
No, Liquid died. Phil, stop it.
We can trust him. No, he put the robot ninja suit on. He's okay.
Okay, stop it. No, all the credits roll, and then you are met with the Metal Gear Solid digital logo, and you are treated to a phone conversation between Revolver Ocelot, and you have no fucking clue, because the other person on the line is not talking. You're just hearing Revolver Ocelot talk about something to somebody else. And he's talking about, yes, we recovered all of the test data from the Metal Gear launch. Even though they destroyed it, we were able to recover the information. Nope, they truly did not know. Liquid thought I was helping him all this time, but no, I'm still serving you, so it's perfectly fine. Yep, nope, we'll be keeping an eye on her as well. Everything will be fine, don't you worry about that. They still don't know who I truly am. So at this point, you're finding out, my God, Revolver Oz is like a triple agent. And he gets up and goes, nope, thank you. Yes, I agree. It takes a strong will to be in a position that you are. Yes, I agree completely. Okay, I will talk to you later. Goodbye. Mr. President.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then it fades. There you go.
And folks, on that note, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, kept you waiting, huh? Folks, that has been this episode of Metal Gear Solid Review. Folks, I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower. Folks, keep it right here at K.O.E Nation for Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, 4, Liberty Walker, maybe a little bit. Oh, that
Didn't
hurts.
go.
And you know, we'll even talk about Kiefer Sutherland in small doses. We don't need to talk about the Raiden game too much.
Okay.
But folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Tony's like, that's like the Disney Star Wars sequels. I don't consider that one.
Just
Thank
take it
you for
home.
being here. Thank you for joining us. God bless every last one of you. I hope you all make it back here to the KOE Nation happy, healthy, much the wiser. I'm toasting you with Dude Coke. God bless every last one of you. I am signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
The Metal Gear Solid loving Tony fucking G. We'll catch you from Metal Gear Solid 2, folks.
Peace. What a concept.